Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
Another Monday, another edition of the Sports Hounds here on A2D Radio, BMW Atlantic City Studios. Brought to you, as always, by Gibson Mayer, LLC. Jumping right into baseball tonight. I got a huge beef with some of these power rankings. Brad, I'm sure you have your beefs with your New York Yankees. We'll get to them in just a minute here. Phillies get no love from the national media, just like the Eagles got no love during the playoffs last year. Only one major baseball media outlet has the Phillies as a top 10 team, and that's MLB.com. They have them up there at fifth. Fifth.
That's a little high.
It's not, though.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
They're not better than any of the five teams.
They
in the
are
American
right
League.
now.
They're not better than any team in the American League.
They beat the Yankees head-to-head right now. The Yankees stink right now.
They're banged up. They don't have their full team.
Okay, that's part of it.
But when they have their full team, they're still gonna have a way better.
This
record
Phillies
than
team
them.
has proved me dead wrong. This team's going to win 90 games. This team's going to win the East. Despite not getting Manny Machado, not really making a big splash at the deadline, they're going to win 90 games.
They're
going to win the East.
They picked up a nice player.
They ended up getting Odubel Cabrera and
He's a nice player.
Wilson Ramos. Our buddy Mike Mataraki, great contributor here, AM and the PM. I believe he's on Agree to Disagree as well.
He's usually on AM and the PM.
No, he's not on Agree to Disagree.
He is not.
Okay, that's my bad then.
It's all right.
But
he might make an appearance.
He
here
had
and
a
there.
very interesting statistic on his Facebook after the trade deadline. Only 4 people got traded at the deadline with an OPS over 800. 2 of them, in Wilson Ramos and Odubel Cabrera, went to the Phillies. The other 2 were obviously Manny Machado and the Twins guy who went to the Diamondbacks.
Dozier.
No.
Yeah, Dozier.
Oh, Escobar.
Eduardo Escobar.
No,
Thank you.
Escobar, yeah.
He went to Arizona.
Dozier got traded late, so maybe he had one as well. So we might have to.
Escobar went to Arizona.
But Dozier's not having. He's not having. I mean, he's gonna fit right in there with the Dodgers, and the Dodgers are absolutely loaded right now.
Oh yeah.
But the Phillies are the second best team in the National League.
And with the win
I
tonight,
don't
they
agree.
could be
I don't
tied for the
agree.
best
I
record
don't
in the
agree.
NL.
You don't
Not at
agree.
all.
Why don't
No.
you agree?
They're not better than Arizona. They're not better than
Okay,
the
well,
Dodgers.
I agree with that. That's very close. And yes, the Diamondbacks do have bigger names on their roster. They're about to play either 3 or 4 games
Not sure.
out there in
Not sure. I know they go
Arizona
out to
on the
Arizona.
road, and we'll figure it out. Arrieta's on the bump tonight. I believe Greinke's pitching tomorrow, so
It'll be a
we'll
fun
see
series.
what's up. I
Yeah.
think the Dodgers
Oh,
are the
it will
best
be.
team in the NL. Like, you look at the Phillies compared to the Cubs, I think the Phillies are better. You look at the Phillies compared to the Brewers, I think the Phillies are better. The Braves are
I
about
don't disagree. I don't agree with that at all.
who on which point?
Either the Cubs or the Brewers. I don't think they're better than the Cubs, and I don't think they're
Well,
better
the
than
Brewers
the
have been leaking water for weeks.
The Brewers are in a slump, but if you take a look at their lineup, they have a better lineup. They don't have great pitching. Their relief pitching is pretty good.
But
they don't have great starting pitching. But, I mean, listen, when they played each other.
how can you not look at the Phillies 1-2 punch of Aaron Nola and Jake Arrieta
but the
and
other
say that
three-
they're
but
better
it's
than
not- But it's not two pitch. It's not a short series. It's a whole season right now. We're talking
Okay.
about. Okay.
the Phillies bullpen has no big names on it. No big names, but they pitch lights out.
They're average.
How are
They're
they
average.
average? Their numbers are not
Uh,
average.
They gave the game back yesterday. Come on, Rob. They gave the game back to the Marlins. They were lucky to hang
That's
on
fine.
against the Marlins.
Okay, so Sir Anthony Dominguez has been the best reliever as a whole on this team for the whole season. He
brought
gave
him
it up
in-
yesterday.
They brought him in the 7th inning, which is kind of surprising. But,
Why?
Because
That's the
if
only
he's-
thing I agree with
if
this
he's their-
analytics notion.
If he's their best reliever, why is he coming
But
in
that
the
was the
7th
big
inning?
spot in the game. It didn't work out for him that way, but why should you not pitch your best reliever in the biggest spot? Why would you be stubborn and say pitch him in the eighth or ninth when the 7, 8, and 9 hitters are up? That makes no sense. That's one part of analytics that I agree with. They have made it acceptable to pitch the setup guy or your best reliever in the 6th or 7th inning.
Well, I think in any situation where the game is on the line, there's no reason why you can't bring in one of your best relievers early in the game in the 3rd, 4th, 5th inning. If the game's on the line and the game starts to get away from you, I think you should bring in one of your top relievers.
All right, that gets us to our Scanzano Sports poll question tonight. It get a little redundant, but what are your updated expectations for this Phillies team? We have no playoffs, a wild card, NLCS, or a World Series appearance. We'll say appearance because I think that there's clearly 3 teams that are above the rest in the major leagues.
I think they get into the NLDS, and they lose.
And they lose.
Round. Yeah, that's.
Why aren't the Phillies better than the Cubs?
Because I think the Cubs have a better lineup, and when they have.
Not without Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant can't even pick up a bat right now. He can't swing.
Yeah, but it's August.
His shoulder's fucked.
It's August the 8th.
Okay. But he just tried coming back after a 2-week DL stint, and he had to go right back on.
Okay,
he's getting more cortisone shots. He's not going to be the same the whole season.
Well,
it's going to be cold in Chicago in the fall and in the playoffs. They're not going to get much from Chris Bryant. They're not. Javi Baez is a good player. Rizzo's an excellent player.
Schwarber missed almost the whole season, and he had a great World Series.
Okay.
I mean, you can't really tell with a guy coming back from an injury. If Bryant gets a couple of weeks in September, they'll be fine. I mean, the Cubs. I can't wait to see the.
Sorry, go ahead.
They're an experienced team. They have pretty good pitching. I mean, I forgot about the left-handed guy they got from the White Sox last year. He's not bad.
Who's in their bullpen? Morrow's on the DL. Their bullpen isn't anything. Phillies bullpen's better than their bullpen. I'm taking Nola and Arrieta over Lester and Kyle Hendricks is their second best guy. Darvish hasn't pitched till May.
It's what's his name? The guy they got from the Cubs last year. Not the Cubs, from the White Sox is probably their number 2.
Quintana, I mean,
Carlos Quintana, he's a good pitcher.
He's okay.
I mean, but look, at this point, we've never seen Nola in the playoffs. Okay.
I heard this. I heard this bullshit about Roy Halladay too from all the Mets fans I went to East Stroudsburg with. And what did he do? He threw a no-hitter.
Roy Halladay was a totally different case. Roy Halladay had been playing in the league for like 8, 9 years. So I mean, Roy Halladay was.
Nola's in the prime of his career. He's clearly a top 10 pitcher.
He is
in Major League Baseball.
He is, but
I don't see how
he does on the big
Phillies
stage,
fans
though.
wouldn't be puffing out their chests if you have him in Game 1 of the NLDS or in a one and done wild card game.
Arrieta
I would.
Well, no, they're not going to look as far as the. As far as second place, I don't think the wild card is going to be a situation for them. I think they're going to win the division.
I don't know about that.
I think they're better.
We've been touting the East as a one bid division as opposed to come to the playoffs, but the Nationals are charging hard. It's wide open because I don't think the Brewers look like they're folding. The Rockies and there's 3 teams out west. I think there's 3 teams in the East. The Cardinals are coming on strong. There's a lot to be decided when it comes to the National League playoff. It's not as clear-cut as the American League. But my expectations, there's no reason this team can't make the NLCS. I don't think that
they could. I mean, listen, it's baseball. Anything could happen.
All right, let's go to the Scott Welsh checks in. NLCS, if Arrieta gets his head on straight. Arrieta's had his head on straight for weeks now. He had his little lull in the season, but look at his number over the last, say, 3 weeks to a month. They've been extremely good.
We have Nito Freak. What is the toppies? Phillies, Yankees, 2 different leagues. We already won series against
Nobody's comparing the Phillies and the Yankees. We're going to let Brad talk about the Yankees in a second. We're talking about the National League. We're talking about real baseball now.
Already won
real
the series.
Baseball. Not this bogus DH American League bullshit.
Stop. You don't even have a team of 20 games over 500 in the National League. The National League stinks. Those teams are terrible. Come on. Be realistic.
The Dodgers could easily beat any team in the American League in the Fall Classic.
They lost to Houston last year. They got their butts kicked last year.
They lost in 7 games in a pretty epic World Series.
They got crushed in Game 7 though.
I mean,
they got crushed. I mean, that was a beatdown. As far as the American League and the National League right now, the top teams of the American League right now
and I have my power rankings later, and
have been better than the top teams in the National League. I mean, the Dodgers can slip in there. They've got the talent to slip in there.
The Dodgers
definitely.
are third in my power rankings. There's 2 American League teams above them.
Who, Houston and
No, Houston is leaking water. I'm not sure Houston's even going to win the West.
they'll win the West.
Do you want to bet on that? Because I say that to people, and
Houston's gonna win.
They look at me like I have 4 heads.
Nah.
They never lose.
Who, Oakland?
Houston is banged up right now. They're not.
still
Their
have very
pitching
good-
is
they
not
still have-
pitching as well as it did in the beginning.
Well, 'cause
Springer
the
left
season's getting
yesterday.
old. The
Correa
season's
still
getting
hasn't played. Altuve's on the DL. I don't see what the love affair. This isn't last year. This is a totally different Houston team.
No, but they also now are going to have Osuna in the bullpen, which is going to
Maybe.
help them a lot, I think.
He's got to go to court on September 5th. So if that doesn't go
But
well,
is he isn't he? I thought he was.
yes, he is allowed to play.
He's allowed to play now. So I mean,
Well, if they send his ass to jail on September 5th,
well,
then he's not going to be
gonna play.
doing anything.
He's not going to play. No, I agree with you about that. But
Mike Marshall checks in. How about that Yankees-Red Sox series with a big winky face? Tom Arnone checking in. What is it? What is it? 5 o'clock out there, Tom?
Let me ask you guys a question. All you guys who want to kill the Yankees, if the Phillies didn't have Carrera and Hoskins, how many games would they be winning? Yankees are missing 2
That's
of their
part
top
of
hitters.
it.
But that's
I
the
understand
fact.
why the
When
Yankees
the
are doing
Yankees
bad.
Play, when the Yankees play
But
in
it's
the
not
playoffs,
it's
they will have all
if
these
they
guys
make the
back.
playoffs.
They'll make the playoffs.
I don't know about
Seattle,
that.
Look, Seattle
I don't
hasn't-
know about that.
Seattle hasn't hit a lick since the All-Star break. Oakland,
I agree with you.
Oakland is good, but I don't think they're going to stay this hot. They're not that good. Their starting pitching is not good. It's
I don't
not good
understand
at
how
all,
you can
other
just
than Sean
poo-poo the
Manaea.
National League when you got dog shit teams at the bottom of the American League like the
You got
Royals.
plenty of dog shit teams in the National
Not
League,
as many
too.
as in the American League, and you know it.
There are some dog shit teams. I'll give you that. Baltimore, Detroit, Chicago.
Mike Marshall, Gabe Kapler is an underdog. Gabe Kapler's been impressing me. The one thing I will say
I
about
love
Gabe,
Kapler.
now
So
everybody
far this
loves him.
season.
Stop taking Rhys Hoskins out in the 7th inning for defensive purposes. Just stop. Because if there's a big spot in the 9th inning or extra innings and Roman Quinn has to hit instead of Rhys Hoskins because it's a defensive replacement, I am going to lose my shit if it leads to a loss. If you want to be cute like that, put Roman Quinn in left and put Santana on the bench and put Hoskins at first.
They could do that.
That's all. That's all I'm
could do
saying.
that.
Other than that, great job, Gabe.
Nitro Freak
Nitro
is saying,
Freak.
Nitro Freak saying,
Do you need glasses?
yeah, probably. I do.
you're the elder
He's saying
statesman of
2
AD,
different
ATD
leagues,
radio.
we already won the series against them. Who are we talking about?
I don't even
Nitro
know. No,
Freak?
yeah.
I don't know what he's talking about. If he's talking about the Yankees won the series against the Phillies, but
David
that
Roska
doesn't
thinks
matter now.
David Roska thinks the Phillies are going to win the World Series.
That'll be something.
I'd be so happy. Mike
I'd
Parker,
be very
NLCS.
surprised.
Mike Marshall wants Phillies haters to explain their logic. I agree with Mike. It's August. This team's in first place. I don't even think there's a debate. I think it's Dodgers, Phillies. Not to mention that the Phillies just won 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers with Manny Machado in South Philadelphia. Not a week ago, Frank? When was that?
Did they
We were
play
just
in LA?
we were watching
Yeah,
the
we
game
were.
on the TV here.
Did they play in L.A. yet?
No.
Who,
I
who,
don't know.
Machado?
If they did. No, I just asked.
Not with Machado.
No.
With Machado. I don't
Okay.
know what the schedule is the rest of the way.
I don't. No, have they been to L.A. yet? I don't know if they have or not.
Maybe. I mean,
I think it's a little bit later.
Mike Parker, Phillies
that'll be
rotations.
interesting.
Can you look at that, Frank?
Yeah, I can check it
Thank
out
you,
right
sir.
now.
Phillies rotation is better than the Brewers and Cubs. I don't see
That's
how
all
that's
I
debatable.
The Brewers, yes. The Cubs.
Who do the Cubs have? That's just like it's because it's the Cubs. It's a big name. They have Joe Madden. They have Anthony Rizzo, Lester. I mean, I get it. Lester's not an automatic
Baez has
ace.
Baez has been.
Baez doesn't pitch. We're
Player.
talking about the rotation.
Okay, well, Quintana and Lester are pretty good.
I'll take Nola and Arrieta any day.
I don't know about Arrieta. Arrieta's been up and down.
Velasquez pitching good. Pavetta's been pitching good. Like
Pavetta is not.
Phillies will
pitching
not be
good.
returning to L.A. For the rest
Do
of the
they
season.
come here?
Pavetta-
That's it.
That's it.
Yep.
What happened in L.A.? Is there any?
It doesn't matter because
that
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
really make a difference.
The
don't have
only chance
Machado
they'll
and
probably
Dozier.
come back to L.A. is if it's in the playoffs. But
Yeah.
and that'll be the
The
NLCS.
Phillies
Yeah,
did win
possibly,
2
yeah.
out of 3, but did they face Kershaw?
He was hurt for all that time.
No,
I don't
mean,
when on
down
this
here. Down here, no, they just missed him.
did
I
they?
mean,
They missed him. I mean,
they
that's
missed him. I
they
mean,
won't miss him in the playoffs. But Clayton Kershaw,
but
he's
Kershaw's going to pitch against Nola, and we'll see what if they play.
yeah.
I mean, one of them could end up losing. Who
And
knows?
I think
mean,
it's going to be. Well, I picked the Rockies as the
I don't-
National League representative in the World
I just
Series
don't, I mean, listen, John
to
Gray
start
is,
the season.
John Gray is starting to really pitch well.
They have LeMahieu back now.
Yeah,
Blackman's a beast. Arenado is the best offensive and
their bullpen's
defensive.
been a little shaky though
uh,
lately. The Rockies are a tough team to figure.
I mean, Vince Velasquez has been pitching extremely well since June.
He's been good, but Pivetta has not been.
It's in there though for Pivetta. It's in there.
Oh, he has ability. But he's been getting hit pretty hard lately. He hasn't really been the Pivetta we saw in April and May.
I mean, Vince Velasquez, this is on the season. This is not he throws in a clunker here and there, I'll give you that.
Everybody
but
does.
He's got a 1.19 whip on the season.
That's good. That's very good.
A 3.8 ERA, which is it's a little high for my liking, but it's not terrible. It's under 4.
It's okay.
129 strikeouts and 113 innings, which is exceptional.
That's very good.
That's a third starter.
He's got good stuff. No question. He walks too many people, in my opinion, but he's got good stuff.
But clearly not, because his whip isn't.
He gets a lot of walk. He does give up a lot. How many walks does he have this year?
I clicked off the page.
But
Vince Velasquez has been balling one series at a time. Mike Parker. Yankees can miss the playoffs. I don't know how that probably is still.
Gonna happen.
I don't think it is either because
I don't think
the
that's gonna
American League is good, but it's top heavy. I mean, there's 6 teams for 5 spots.
Yeah, exactly.
After you got the Rays are like 8 games back for the second
Rays
wild
are not.
card.
The Rays
They're
are
not
going to
do it. They just traded Wilson Ramos.
Yeah, they're not.
And I want to see this Phillies lineup with Wilson Ramos behind the plate from an offensive standpoint because I love Jorge Alfaro.
It'll be
but
better. He's
Wilson
a good
Ramos is a now player.
He's a good hitter.
This guy was going to start for the American League All-Star team if he wasn't hurt. That's a pretty good pull from Clintac at basically clear out of nowhere gave up absolutely nothing.
That was a very good. Listen, I think that they did very well at the trade deadline. The Phillies, they picked up 2 very useful pieces. I think from what I've heard, Ramos is going to be back around the 17th, 18th in that area.
And Kyle Meagher wants the Phillies to lose 15 straight games so he can talk major shit.
I don't think they're going to do that. But again, I'm not ready to say that the Phillies are better than the other teams in the National League yet.
They're second
Playoff
best in
teams.
the National League. They're
I'm
a
not
top
ready
10
to-
team in
I'm
baseball.
I'm not ready to give you that. I don't think.
What
they're
do they
better than-
have to do to
Well, they're not better.
No,
than
because
any
for
of the 5 teams.
because for your
not
New
better-
York
they're
attitude
not
to put
better-
the Phillies in the
they're
top
not better.
5 of
Are you gonna
baseball,
tell me-
they got to have Bryce Harper, Manny Machado,
They're not
big
better
name
than,
after
they're
big
not
name.
better than Boston. They're not better than the Yankees.
They're not in the National
They're not
League.
better than Cleveland. They're not better than Oakland.
We don't have to see them until the World Series. Who
Okay,
cares?
I'm just. You want to say that they're the top, the 5th best
You don't
team
think
in
they're?
baseball?
I didn't say
No,
they're the 5th best team.
You said they're a top 5 team. in baseball.
MLB.com said they were top 5.
They're
They're
out of
8th.
their
On,
minds.
they're 8th on my list.
I think they're more like maybe 10th. I mean, look, it depends.
Okay, so when they take 2 out of 3 from Arizona over the next 3 days, what then?
then I'd have to change my opinion of them. But let's see them do it. What happens if they lose 2 out of 3, like they did the first time they played them?
Mike Parker, Nick Pivetta is top 10 in the National League in strikeouts.
He
Yeah, but
is
He also gives
with
up a lot of home
141,
runs.
and Nola is 2 spots above him with 144.
He also gives up a lot of home runs, and that's a very high ERA.
He's a 4th or 5th starter.
Right. So I mean, so what if he has a lot of strikeouts? Michael Pineda had a lot of strikeouts, and we know what he was like. There are a lot of guys that have strikeouts that give up too many runs. I mean, John Gray is a classic example. He's a strikeout king, but his ERA is horrible this year.
So who's the fourth guy then, Frank, for the Phillies?
Eflin?
Man, that's a tough one.
Eflin is in it. I'd rather have Pivetta out
Or is he
there.
on
Yeah,
the DL?
I got to have Pivetta. You got to rely
Isn't
on
he
his
on the DL
strikeouts.
right now?
He was on the DL with blisters, and
Yeah.
then he was back, and I don't know what he's doing now.
Yeah, I mean, Vince Velasquez also Vince Velasquez is 10th in the NL in strikeouts with 129.
And he's the clear cut. He's proven to be the clear cut number 3. He
oh yeah,
made me angry in years past, but he's pitching well this year.
yeah. Surprisingly, he's been pitching well
Listen,
despite his struggles.
when
He's
you look
actually
at
holding his
trade-
own ground.
When you look at that trade with Houston, you guys
Yeah.
definitely got the better of that trade.
I hated that trade when it first happened.
Well,
so I was
I told
proven
you
wrong
last
there.
year that I thought Giles was a piece
That
of
was the
crap.
1360 days when that trade
Yeah,
went down, I think.
I told you that I thought Giles was a piece of crap last year. So he was a big stiff, and now he's in the minors again.
Yeah.
I mean, the American League figured him out.
Phillies went to. We got San Diego. Pavetta's top 10. Nola's 5th in NL. Okay, that's
Yep,
Frank's
That's
comments.
me. Interacting with Parker.
You can bring Gray's inflated Coors ERA into any conversation.
Yeah.
I'm
I don't understand what his point is there. I don't understand what Mike's
understand
point is there.
Yeah, I don't.
I
Either.
think with the Coors Field stuff,
Right.
that could factor in because he has a 4.73 ERA for the year.
Yeah, but he's bad on the road too, Gray.
He's been good lately.
Yeah.
He's been good the last.
And I
couple
think
of
he's a
starts.
talented player.
I do too, but he
I
hasn't
think
been
they're
good
going to make
this
the.
year.
I think it's going to be the same as last year. I think it's going to be
Except the Phillies are
Cubs,
gonna win the
Phillies,
division.
Dodgers,
Except the Phillies
and
are
then
going to win the East,
Rockies
I
and
believe.
Arizona in the wild cards.
You think that the Rockies are going to finish ahead of the Brewers?
Yes. I don't like what the Brewers are doing right now.
They could turn it around easily.
They
though.
could. I don't like what they did at the deadline. I just don't like it. I don't know what they're. I don't know if Shaw and Moustakis and Scope, and then they have no shortstop. Are they going to put Scope at shortstop? Are they going to play a lot of double switches because their guys can only go 5 innings?
Scope just
They're gonna-
hasn't been good this year.
He's been good like leading up to the trade deadline. He was mashing. So I don't know what Scope you were
but
watching.
He's back to being. He was in fantasy. He was -8 this week.
And that's what he is. He's a power hit swing, but he played me in
He had
fantasy.
290. He
He
had
played-
290. He had 290 last year, and he had 27 home runs.
I had to
mean,
play.
I don't know
I had to
what-
play.
okay.
I had to play Jesse on the long week. Scope got like 50 points.
All right, Mike Parker had to clear up that comment. He says that was supposed to say you can't bring Gray's inflated Coors ERA into any conversation.
Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
That's
Alright, but-
whatever. That's
He had to
fair.
clear that up.
Okay.
But
Damn
I mean,
you, autocorrect.
but Gray, like, who cares what he did before? It matters what he's doing
The
right
last-
now
the last
and
three
what he's going
games
to do in the
been-
future.
The last 3 games, he's been
I
very,
think he's a
very good.
talented pitcher.
Yeah, no, I think he is too.
And the Rockies have other guys that are pitching well. Herman Marquez, that guy's lights out every start.
And who's the other?
And
one?
their bullpen is
Tyler,
very good. Extremely good bullpen.
Ottavino's been good.
Ottavino, Wade Davis.
Wade Davis.
Ottavino might even better than Wade Davis.
Wade Davis blew 2 saves last week. Wade Davis is blown, I think, 6 saves this year.
I mean,
He's blown a lot of saves.
no
this
one's
year,
Brad Lidge.
but- Well, it's pretty hard to do that. Pretty hard to be perfect.
No
in
one's
one
Brad
season.
Lidge, Brad. So, David
Well,
Rosca,
Mariano Rivera
Angels
was.
fan David Rosca, Mike Scioscia reportedly stepping down
Wow.
at the
Yep.
end of the year. I mean, he hasn't been
That's-
very good.
Yeah.
They haven't been. I mean, he's got the best.
They never give him any pitching though, and it seems like that team's always getting injured, and they're always having old players. They never seem to bring in young players.
Shame they have Trout. What's Trout been
They
in
have
the playoffs?
Trout and
He's
Ohtani.
been in the playoffs for
Yeah, but
Cha-
Ohtani got hurt.
Ohtani's
And
he's
when
back
Ohtani
now.
got hurt,
He's back as now as
He's
a batter.
back as batting, but he's going to need Tommy John surgery if they
Yeah.
want to use him as a pitcher. So then he's going to wait till the off season to get it.
and then he won't be active
Then he
till
won't be
like
2020.
or maybe 2021, depending on how bad that tear is.
yeah, unless he just hits.
Yeah, unless if he still hits.
He's
but then-
mashing right now as a hitter.
Yeah.
So, but I think they pay.
He's a big
I think
time
they wanted an ace with all that money they.
Oh
gave him.
yeah, absolutely.
Mike
And plus, they don't have that farm system, which doesn't even help the Angels at all. But
Mike Parker.
Oh, well.
Mike Parker's rooting for the Mariners and the A's for the wild card. I think the A's might do something nuts here and win this West. I really do. I've been saying it for a couple weeks now.
I don't think it's going to last.
4 games back.
I mean, that's.
We've been saying it's not going to last
they're
for weeks.
They're 33-10. You really think they're going to keep that up? That's an amazing.
There's no
streak,
reason
but
to think, unless somebody gets hurt, that they can't keep it up. Trevor Cahill is a great pitcher. Sean Manaea is a great pitcher.
Yeah, I think you're exaggerating Trevor Cahill.
Trevor Cahill is a strikeout machine.
He's never been all that great a pitcher. I mean, he's pitched for about 50 different teams. Come on now. Let's keep it real.
Look at his number.
I'll give you Manaea, but the rest
bugaboo is injury, and when he's been healthy this year, he has been lights out.
Manaea is good. He's been very, very good.
They have an
Manaea's
excellent closer.
Pitcher. They have a great bullpen. Oakland.
Great bullpen.
Great bullpen.
They pick up
that'll give you
Mike Fiers. Mike Fiers today for nothing.
Mike Fiers is okay.
He's okay.
He's okay. He's not going to hurt
What pitchers are out there?
None. You know, that's the whole point.
This is
right
not
now.
last year. I mean, I don't know. I look at the Cubs, and I look at the Astros, and I just see the Brewers fall in that category as well. There's something missing there this year. These aren't the Cubs and the Astros and the Brewers of years past. Well, the Brewers never really been there, but there's something missing there when it comes to postseason baseball.
The Brewers don't have starting pitching. They just don't. They lost Suter for the year. That's going to hurt. I mean, Junior Guerra is very inconsistent. Chase Anderson is just – he's a run-of-the-mill pitcher, and he's their ace, supposedly. And, I mean, is Nelson coming back this year, or is he gone for the season?
I don't know. I don't follow the Brewers that
and
closely.
Zach,
and Jimmy Nelson will never be on my fantasy team.
Who's the other pitcher that they have that's been injured all season? They had one other pitcher that's pretty good that's been injured all season.
Well, Suter got Tommy John.
Cousins? Is that his name? I can't.
I don't know,
remember
but
the guy's name.
they have a good bullpen.
Yeah, no, they have and they have a very good offense. They can really hit the ball. But the problem with them is they have the same problem the Yankees do in that they hit a lot of home runs, but they don't hit with runners in scoring position.
But I don't see how Shashin's on their team. He pitches good sometimes.
Yeah, he's okay.
But, I mean, to say that the Phillies can't bang with the Cubs and the Brewers in the Central is ridiculous.
I think it remains to be seen. I think we need
I think
to
the
see
Phillies
that.
are clear-cut better than both of those teams.
Oh, I disagree.
It's
with
not
you.
even. I don't even think it's even debatable. There's no doubt in my mind.
I mean, the Phillies get to play some pretty shitty teams in the National League East right now, between the Mets and the Marlins. The Nationals have been terrible this year.
The Nationals have been on fire since the All-Star break.
They're still not.
Bryce Harper's hitting 375.
How many games behind are they?
They're 4.5 out in the wild card. I think there's 6 back in the East.
That's still a lot.
There's 50 games left, though.
I realize that. How many?
The
games
Nationals
do they have?
have all the talent. All the talent.
Yeah,
they're
but
the
they
best
haven't been
team
able-
on paper
but-
in the division.
But we've been saying
But they're starting to put it together. And if they put it together for 2 months, that might be good enough to win the East.
the Nationals have not been a good team this year.
They could get in the
erratic.
wild card over the Rockies. I think the Braves are going to fold. The
Yeah,
Braves.
I'm not crazy about
The Braves have 58 games in the next 60 days. It consists of a couple doubleheaders, a couple rainouts from earlier in the year.
I'm not crazy
That's a
about-
lot of games
I'm
in
not-
60 days.
I'm not crazy about their starting pitching. I think that they got a couple of good young pitchers.
I like
in there, but-
Fultinowicz and I like Newcomb.
Yeah, but I mean, how long do you think you can go with what's his name? The guy that just came back. I can't remember his name. The old right-handed pitcher that used to pitch for
Well, they got
Detroit.
Gosman at the
Yeah,
at the
but
deadline.
Yep.
Gosman,
That's not a.
he's not good. He's not really good. I mean, maybe in the National League they haven't seen him that much. Maybe he can sneak through and pitch well for them. But I mean, Gosman, if you're gonna sit and try to tell me how good Gosman
No,
is,
this
he
is part of the reason
wasn't
why I
very
think the
good.
Braves are going to fold. I
Yeah,
thought the Braves and the Mariners were teams that were going to take a step back in the second half. Mariners have proved me right.
The Mariners, what's surprising to me is that how they've stopped hitting. That's surprising to me because I thought they were a pretty good hitting team, and they just haven't hit at all since the All-Star break. and I would be concerned about them. They do have a very good closer. Paxton is still good, although did he not miss a start?
He was on the DL with some lower
Yeah, he
back
was.
around the All-Star break.
I think he's back now.
He's
right?
back now, but
So-
I mean, King Felix has been so bad that they're talking about moving him to the bullpen.
Yeah, King Felix is over the hill.
Wade
Just too many
LeBlanc,
injuries.
Mike Leake. I mean, these are not.
They're okay.
Nothing,
not okay
nothing
games.
wow-worthy.
No.
What tandem is better, Nick Pivetta and Vince Velasquez, or Wade LeBlanc and Mike Leake?
I give the Phillies that one.
Okay,
I give the Phillies that one.
Definitely Pivetta and Velasquez.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
These are teams in the big bad American League, Frank.
Right.
That the Phillies can't even.
The fact that the
compete
Mariners
with.
can still compete with that kind of a lineup.
Well,
like,
their
like,
hitters
like-
mash.
Yeah,
They
the
have
hitters
a
mash,
great- they have
but
a
the
great hitting
pitchers.
team, but that's what I'm saying is it's surprising, that
surprising.
they're not hitting. When you look at the guys on the team, you got guys like Nelson Cruz and Seager.
Yeah,
And
I
Seager's
like their
been
lineup,
hard.
but the pitchers.
Seager's been horrible.
yeah, I
it's,
know.
it's surprising.
Cano's about to take his spot when he comes back.
And who's the outfielder that's really really good? Haniger.
Haniger's great.
Haniger.
Yeah, I mean
He's good.
they're not hitting at all right now. I mean they need Cano
Yeah,
to
they're
come back.
they're
and
in a little rut like
Yeah.
the Yankees.
They need Cano to come back, and they need him to come back soon and hit.
But I mean,
And he
how
might,
much
I mean,
does
he might
that
be a
help
jump
you? Let's
start.
say Cano gets hot for 2 months and gets him in the wild card game. Guess who can't play in the wild card game?
Oh, he can't. You're right.
So I
Right.
mean, like, yeah, you got to put him in to try and make a push, but once you get to the dance, he's leaving you high and dry because he used
Yes, he
steroids.
is.
Yep.
Yes, he is.
For those of you who don't know, Robinson Cano is ineligible for postseason play because he failed a drug test
And
for
he
performance-enhancing
was suspended
drugs.
for 80 games, and he's not allowed to play in the playoffs.
He is in a rehab assignment now for what did he do? He broke his hand?
Yes.
That was a shame, man. I had him at second base in fantasy, and he was just raking. He was the best second baseman by far.
He was hitting the ball.
Mike
like
Parker
crazy.
checking back in. I think the Braves, the rest of the league, have adjusted to Albies and Acuna, and everyone knows how to pitch them. Freeman is a stud, and Nick Marquez is having a career year. I mean, Acuna's on fire right now, so not many people have him figured out right now. Albies has been in a lull, but he's coming back. Those guys are studs. Those guys are 20-year-old studs. I hope the Phillies are taking notes on the Acunas, the Albieses, the Juan Sotos of the world. That you don't have to wait until these guys are 23, 24 to bring them up.
Juan Soto is gifted.
He's really good.
He's outstanding. That guy has power.
But like, if
I
you
mean,
can
he's
play
a
at
real good player.
if you can play at 19 in the bigs, why not bring him up? I totally agree
I
with
agree
these
with
teams.
you. I agree with you.
What's he supposed to do? Hit 475 in AAA?
No, that's silly. You're wasting him.
Stupid.
You might as well bring him up. I agree. I agree with you 100% about that. Juan Soto is a tremendous hitter, and
They have
got
another guy right
tremendous
behind him.
power. Yeah, I know they do.
Victor Robles.
Robles, he just hasn't been called
And
up yet.
Eloy Jimenez is about to come up for the White Sox, maybe in a couple weeks. He's another guy who's supposed to be the next big thing. So we'll see. Hopefully all these guys do good. And I love when young players take the league by storm. And
Oh,
I
it's
think it
always
makes-
a lot of
it-
fun.
it
It makes
makes-
the league fun.
I agree. And hopefully the
you know.
Phillies can take some notes and get these guys up here
Well,
quicker.
the Phillies got some good young players that are playing now. And I'll tell you what, another guy who's been on fire and playing great baseball for the Phillies is Franco.
Unbelievable.
And you guys were trying to get rid of him, and everybody had him written off, and he's come back, and I mean,
he flipped the switch,
he's-
that's for
he's-
sure.
He's gotten his focus back. I mean, there are two guys in the Phillies that when they're involved and they flip the switch and they're totally into it and playing smart baseball are really good, and that's Herrera and Franco. The two of them when they're on top of their game, they are really really good.
It's a very potent lineup. The Phillies have a very potent lineup, and Rhys Hoskins is the leader and leading the charge right now. He's got the most home runs of anyone in that home run derby. He's got 8 home runs since the All-Star break. It seems like every time he steps to the plate, it's an extra base hit. It's a very potent lineup. So this is why I scoff when you
well, I compare them
downgrade
to,
it.
I look
they're
at
just
their
as
team.
good as Arizona's lineup. They're just as good as the Brewers lineup. They're just as good as the Cubs lineup. The Brewers have
I
those
don't know if I
outfielders,
can-
so maybe not the Brewers, but they're a more complete team than the Brewers.
Well, they definitely have better starting pitching.
I don't see where the Cubs are better than this team.
Oh, when the Cubs are at full strength, they are better than the Phillies right now. I mean,
Health is part of it.
I understand that, but I don't think you can count on Chris Bryant being out the rest of the season.
Chris Bryant can't even lift up a baseball bat.
But it's
He's going to contribute to a pennant race.
It's only August 6th.
He can't swing a bat.
Do you think the Cubs aren't going to make the playoffs though? The Cubs still have guys that can hit. I mean, they still have.
I don't know. They're in a battle with the Brewers for the division. I don't think they're going to get a wild card there in the Central. So they might not make the playoffs.
We'll see. I think they're going to outlast the Brewers. I think they've got better pitching than the Brewers.
I tend to agree, but it's not a lock.
I mean, if you look at the team, right now, you got a guy like Schwarber on the team who's a big time power hitter. Baez is out of his mind this year. Rizzo is as always is very, very good. I mean that's a real good hitting team.
And we just talked about how the Phillies are a great hitting team too, and the Phillies have better pitching.
I see. I can't give you.
Yu Darvish hasn't pitched since May.
Yeah, but he's gonna be back soon.
Okay, when?
Well, he's
call
going
me when
back.
he can throw a bullpen session,
Isn't
throw
he going-
a freaking curveball
Isn't he
without
going
having
on a-
discomfort in his shoulder
Is he
or his
going on a-
elbow.
I thought he was going on a rehab assignment.
I don't know what he's doing.
He's
He's not pitching at Wrigley Field right now. He hasn't
he's
since
not.
May.
No, he's not.
So
Not
I
yet.
don't understand how you can. You say if healthy, yeah. Guess what? Aaron Judge broke his wrist. Like
Well, we
that's
know that.
terrible for a power hitter.
We know that.
He might not be the same until next season.
Well, he only has a little chip fracture. It's not. He didn't. It's not a clean break.
We've seen it a million times before, where a wrist injury in a power hitter is absolutely
see.
not good.
We'll see. I mean, obviously the Yankees, when it comes to that, they need him in the lineup in the worst way.
Let's
Because he
get to your
lengthens the
Yankees.
lineup. He lengthens the lineup.
I'm sick of trying to convince you that the Phillies are better than the Cubs because you're not biting. I convinced you I convinced you both last week that Mike Mussine is a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
Yeah,
yes,
you did.
You did.
You did.
So I had to
did.
try, but
But
Brad,
James Wilder loved the heat that you brought on to Brad, by the way.
well,
he loved
I
it.
mean, I love him, but like he's got to get set straight sometimes. You know? So Brad, your Yankees are a complete and utter disaster.
I think that's a little strong. A disaster. They're 26 games over 500.
Right now they are a disaster.
They just lost 4 games to the best team
Yeah,
in baseball.
that's a
right now.
disaster. And
They
they're
had a
not the
terrible
best team in
loss last
baseball.
night.
That brings me to my
Who,
power
the Red
rankings.
Sox?
I like the Indians
Over the Red Sox.
over the Red Sox.
Rob, you're delusional.
Yes, sir.
You're delusional.
Yes, sir. They
That's
hit just
tempting. I like it.
You're delusional.
better bullpen.
Red Sox have better pitching.
Chris Sale is not healthy right now.
He's gonna miss one start, but he'll be back
Who's better, Kluber or Sale?
when they're both healthy.
Obviously.
Okay, Sale.
When they're both injured with
Well,
Tommy John.
Okay, you're asking me about Kluber compared to Sale. Based
You
on
sure about that?
based on what I've seen against the Yankees, Sale is way better than Kluber.
Well, the Yankees can't hit right now. So let's just take out the Yankees.
I think Sale's better than Kluber. I think Sale's better than Kluber. Porcello is not as good as Bauer. I'll take Bauer over Porcello without question. Price and who's their third pitcher now? Carrasco.
Very good pitcher.
That's probably pretty even. I mean,
Price has been well. He's had a bounce back season.
Price has been pretty good
Porcello
this
has
year.
also had a bounce back season.
I mean, the Red Sox pitching is very good.
I think the Indians have a better bullpen.
I agree with you with that. I agree with you now because
And
they got hands.
I know the Yankees have, the Red Sox have very, very good lineup.
so
The
do
Indians
but the
have
Indians
a fantastic lineup
only
as
one
well.
only 1-5, and it falls off the cliff after 5.
I like.
You do know though, after 5, their lineup is horrible.
Well, they got.
I can tell you their lineup.
I don't even know
Lindor,
I don't even know how they stack them.
Lindor,
With
Ramirez.
the Red Sox or
No,
The
I
Indians?
know
The
how
Indians,
I watched the
Lindor,
game last night. So I,
Lindor leads off. Ramirez bats second.
let's take a
pretty-
look.
that's
Let's
pretty
take- I'm
good.
going to take a look at their current
no,
lineup.
the first
Let's see,
the first
batting
5
order.
hitters on that team are outstanding.
I'll
I would
take
give you that, but
I'll
the
take
the bottom of their
Lindor. I'll
order-
take Lindor and Ramirez in 1-2 over Betts and Benintendi.
Oh, yeah.
Betts and Benintendi. No. Nah, well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jose Ramirez has like 35 home runs.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, Jose Ramirez.
I think he has
Lindor
33 right
is-
now, but that's
Yeah.
you're pretty close. What about J.D. Martinez?
Francisco Lindor is Jimmy Rollins with 40 home run power.
I told you that at the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
with
I
Lindor.
mean,
I told
I
you
see
that.
so much of Jimmy Rollins and
he's a-
Francisco Lindor.
He's a big time.
He's
Yeah.
an
player.
excellent fielder. He runs well. He's just got Jimmy Rollins had some power, but he didn't have. He was never going to
if
hit
you-
40 home runs.
If you look at the Indians, I have to look at their lineup again because I can't.
The
I just
Indians
remember one
lineup.
through
All right.
five.
So their lineup.
ahead,
I'm
Frank,
going off
rattle it
of
off.
tonight's game. So lead off will be Lindor, then Michael Brantley, Jose
Brantley, okay,
Ramirez,
Ramirez.
Edwin Encarnacion, Yonder
Stud.
Alonso,
Okay.
Great
Leonis
player.
Martin,
Who?
Leonis Martin,
He stinks.
Jason Kipnis.
He stinks too.
Yeah, it hasn't been.
He's been
Productive.
awful this year.
Yeah,
Come
he's been
on.
awful this year, but I mean,
He's
not
over
a great
the hill.
year.
He's 100 years old. He can't hit anymore.
Roberto Perez is your
He
catcher,
stinks
and
too.
Brandon Geyer,
He stinks too.
and pitching is
As I
Trevor
said,
Bauer. So.
The top. Well, Trevor Bauer was outstanding.
Oh yeah,
The top, and Clevenger and
Clevenger-
Clevenger is
Clevenger and
Clevenger
are a
is their
good 1,
fourth
2, 3
pitcher. I
punch,
mean,
yeah.
they got
I
a
like
good
the
pitching
Indians.
staff.
yeah.
I like the Indians. If
Listen,
I had
if
to
you're
pick
asking,
a bet
if
right
you're
now,
asking me,
I'm picking the
I would
Indians
root for
over the Red Sox.
I would root for
Yeah,
the
it'll
Indians.
be
No
it'll be
shit
an
on
entertaining
that one.
series.
Yeah, I'd
Definitely.
be thrilled to see the Red Sox.
I-
lose
I
tonight.
I
won't be
have the Red Sox number 2. I have the Dodgers number 3. Who did I have 4?
Somewhere. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's an
Phillies
Indians,
number 4 now.
Red Sox, ALCS. Wouldn't be surprised.
I think the Final Four is
the
going to be
whole-
Phillies, Dodgers, and Indians and
the crazy thing with
Red Sox.
the crazy thing with the Red Sox is the sum doesn't add up to the parts. It really doesn't, because when you look at that team, I mean, Steve Pearce stinks. He's played on 100 teams, and
Right.
he's hitting 400.
Brandon
he's Ty
Guy-
Cobb and Babe Ruth rolled
Right.
into one right now.
Brandon Geyer, Steve Pearce, he's on the same level as the guys at the bottom of the Indians lineup.
Steve Pearce is hitting about 330 right now, though.
Yeah,
And
right
hitting
now
home
he's
runs,
on
and he's hitting home
fire.
run- He's been on fire since Toronto traded him there. And Mitch Moreland, who's never been more than a 240 hitter, is an all-star on the Red Sox, which is beyond me. Listen, Bogarts is a big-time player. I won't argue Bogarts. I won't argue Benintendi, and I won't argue Mookie Betts. And J.D. Martinez. I mean, they're outstanding hitters, but they do have good pitching, and they have a good closer. I don't think the middle of their bullpen is suspect. I mean, listen, if you're asking me, I would love to see the Red Sox lose. I don't think they're as good as their record, but they just seem to never lose. They just have that it factor this year. You know? Now, if you're asking me if the
Red
Yankees
Sox
can beat
don't
them,
have the it
the
factor?
Red Sox have the it factor.
They do.
They do. Now, if you're asking me if the Yankees can beat them when the Yankees are healthy, yeah, I think the Yankees
The
can beat
Yankees
them.
have no fucking shot of beating the Red Sox in a 7-game series this year.
If they get their guys back, they
None.
certainly have a shot.
None.
They won 5 out of 9
I
when they
hate
had
the
their
Red
team.
Sox. I'm definitely
When
a
they
Yankee
had-
guy when it comes to
when the
Red Sox
Yankees
versus
had-
Yankees.
When the Yankees had Judge and
Yankees, no.
Sanchez, they won 5 of the first 9 games. Okay, they weren't hitting because their top 2 hitters are out. That means a lot. You take Benintendi and Betts off the Red Sox, they're going to lose some games too. I mean, it's hard to win when you're missing your top players. I mean, it is
Brad,
what
I'm
it is.
sorry. I don't like the Red Sox. I hate Boston. I think they're
But
snobby.
they're
I think
playing,
they're obnoxious.
They're playing.
the Yankees
great
have no
baseball.
shot to beat the
I totally
Red Sox in October.
I
None.
totally disagree.
None.
I totally disagree.
Maybe nobody can beat them.
the Red
Maybe
Sox.
I'm biased when it comes to my power rankings.
The
'cause
Red
I don't
Sox-
like the Red Sox.
The Red Sox, talent-wise, are not as good as their record is. Their record is phenomenal this year. And,
Okay,
but I
this
mean,
is
they
your,
do,
it's a
they do
direct quote
everything
from
well.
your boy, Bill Parcells. You are what your record says you are.
Well, I remember the Seattle Mariners won 116 games, and it didn't get them anywhere in 2002.
It got them to the playoffs.
And they lost 4-1 to the Yankees in the AL.
I mean, okay.
Yes. So I mean, again, I mean, if you compare the Red Sox lineup to Houston's lineup when they're healthy, Houston's lineup is just as good, and they've got just as good pitching. And they're in a similar situation that the Red Sox are in with the bullpen.
Hey, I don't know. I watched the Astros. Maybe if Correa comes back and proves he can stay healthy. Maybe that'll change my opinion on the Astros, but I don't see it with the Astros this year. I just don't.
Oh, they're still pretty good. I mean, you know what?
But
They
it's
still have to
relative
be
to the
beat.
competition, Brad.
Oh, I realize that.
I'm not so sure the Astros would beat the Yankees in a 7-game series.
I'm not so sure they would either.
That bullpen's still a disaster. Left field's been a big question mark all season. First base has
Marwin
been
Gonzalez has been very disappointing for them this year. He's
first
not having the
base has
same year.
also been a disappointment. Bregman's a beast.
Gurriel plays first base for them.
Yeah,
He's okay. He's not a bad player.
okay.
He's not going to hurt you at first base. I mean, Gurriel, their infield's very good. Their outfield's been a little shaky this year. They've also been banged up, but I mean, their outfield's been the problem. Reddick has not had a good year. Springer is now hurt, and Marwin Gonzalez, who usually plays left field, has been basically a
Well, I
230
mean,
hitter this year?
everyone knew. I mean, if you had half a brain, you would know that Marwin Gonzalez
Oh,
wasn't
absolutely. He had he hit 300 last year, which is way more than he ever hit in his entire career. I
going.
mean,
He
he's
career
been around
260
forever.
hitter.
If that. Yeah, 260 after last year, maybe. Probably like
Yeah.
240 before last year.
No, if I remember right, when I was doing my fantasy research, his highest average before last year was 260.
Yes, but I mean, as a lifetime hitter, his
Ish.
lifetime average is around 240.
Well, whatever.
yeah, I
whatever
mean, he
it
wasn't,
is.
but he wasn't that good. I mean, but their infield offense is off the charts.
Chromo checking in for Orlando. The NL is wide open, in my opinion. I see absolutely no reason the Phillies can't make it to the NLCS. I think that's a fair expectation to have at this point, but wouldn't be a disappointment if they're eliminated in the NLDS.
Yeah, I can
Any
see them
playoff berth is a huge win for
Oh,
them.
yeah,
Have a
Oh,
great
especially
absolutely. They're a year,
yeah,
they're a year ahead
ahead.
of schedule.
And if they win the World Series, then you're 3 years ahead of schedule. There we
Then you're
go.
really ahead of
No,
schedule. Then you're really
Well,
ahead
no,
of
no, no,
schedule.
no, 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 no.
No.
Expectations have changed.
Oh, yeah.
You don't get a pass if you get blown out in the playoffs. Like, oh, gee, shucks. We weren't even supposed to be here anyway. No, that's total bullshit. Expectations have risen.
They have.
They're
agree.
expected, in my opinion, expected to go to the NLCS. Anything less
Well,
than
I
the
think
NLCS.
I think you guys.
If
are
they're not in the
overrating that team.
NLCS, I'll be disappointed. Shit changes.
It does change.
That's
But,
such
I mean,
a total cop out by we
I
weren't
think
even
that's-
supposed to be there in the first.
Well, I mean, leading up to the season, I thought
thought
that,
they were gonna
Leading up to the
stink.
season,
I
we
thought this
they
was
were
a
gonna win
wild card team
75
at
games.
best.
I thought they were going to win 75 games this year.
I was
I
right
think
there
they're
with
good.
you.
They
I
defied
think they're already good,
expectations.
The
Gabe
young players
Kapler's
have come. The young
yeah.
players have come
But-
around.
Gabe
Let
Kapler's
me ask
avoiding
you
the
guys this.
micromanaging.
Let me ask you guys this.
All right.
If the Eagles went out in the NFC title game last year and got destroyed,
That
Yeah.
would be a
And
bitter
lost.
disappointment.
It would have been a disappointment. I would be disappointed.
and
That'd
then
be-
I came on this show and said, "Oh, well, they were a year ahead of schedule. They weren't supposed to even be in the NFC Championship
Not if you're
game.
14 and
Successful
Or
season.
13 not if you're 13 and
Yeah,
That'd
not
be
if you're 13
bullshit.
and 3.
Not,
That'd be
not when you're-
bullshit.
not when you're
Everyone in
13
the
and
chat, you and even Brad probably would say I was out of my mind.
3. No, if you're 13 and 3,
Expectations
you should win.
Right.
alter over a 6-month.
But I-
If
but I
Phillies-
think
if
with the
Phillies win
roster we
97,
had,
98 games,
like-
then yeah, they should be. Then it would be a disappointment if they don't do that. If the Phillies win 90 games and the other teams have better records, you can't sit there and say, "Oh, it's a disappointment if they don't get to the NLCS."
And
I
you know
mean,
my fly. Hey, if you're what were they, 6-point underdogs in the Super Bowl to the Patriots?
Yeah, 5.5 points. Yeah.
5.5-point dogs. If you're gonna show up, you might as well win.
And once we ran out of that tunnel,
that sounds like a Parcells.
we showed up.
That's
so.
a Parcellsism.
Is it?
That's what. Yeah, he said that when the Giants played Buffalo. Before the Giants
Yeah,
played
if
Buffalo.
you're gonna show up, you might as well win.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he was
We
saying.
we
When
put the
the
pedal
Giants,
to the metal.
The Giants, I think, were 12.5-point underdogs that year when they.
I
in
believe so.
1919.
Yeah, they were underdogs.
They were severe underdogs.
Yeah.
Herm Edwards, you play to win the game. Thank you, Mike Parker.
Yeah, the idea is to win the game. Yes,
But-
I remember that very well.
I had a document with my power rankings in it.
And it's just like the Yankees. I expect the Yankees to get to the playoffs. I expect them to win their playoff game. I expect them to play the Red Sox, and I would expect them to beat the Red Sox when they have their whole team in there. There's no reason why they can't.
How can you expect this team to beat the Red Sox in a 7-game series right
Because
now?
they didn't have their team. They didn't have their team, Rob. If the roles were reversed and they didn't have J.D. Martinez,
You got a wrist and a groin there. Those are pretty devastating injuries to power hitters.
okay, but they can cut. But they're going to come back. Sanchez is expected back by the end of the month. Judge is expected back in 2 weeks.
I think the Yankees are going to be playing the Astros in the American League wildcard game.
That could happen. Although I don't think Oakland is going to continue.
I know
to keep
everybody
playing as
thinks
well.
Oakland's not real, but guess
Oh,
what?
I'm not saying
it's
they're not.
August
I'm
8th.
not saying they're not real. They have an outstanding third baseman. They have an outstanding first baseman. Chris Davis does nothing but hit home runs, and they have a great bullpen. Their starting pitching is very suspect. Okay, I don't know. I don't know that they can outplay Houston for another 50 games. I think they've done an excellent job. I do think that they have a chance to beat Seattle. That's for sure. They've proven that. But I mean, they've been 33-10. They're not a 33-10 team.
Well, no one's a 33-10 team,
Right, so you
Brad.
can't expect that. Well, the Red Sox have been. They've been all season.
But you don't poo-poo because they have big names. Look at Oakland's team. They have
some
Good
good players.
players.
They have good players that nobody's heard of because they're in
a
Oakland.
lot of
but
them
they
are
have some
young.
good players.
Chris Davis has been a premier power hitter in the major leagues for
many,
5
many
years
years now,
at least
yes.
5 years now.
Yes, he has.
Jed Lowry is a really good player.
He's a solid.
Matt
solid
Olson
player.
and Matt Chapman are really good up-and-coming players. Steven Piscotty is finally living up to expectations.
He's okay. Semien is a good, solid player.
Semien
He's gonna
is a
give you
good,
some
solid player.
Good, solid player.
And then
from
they
shortstop.
platoon in center field. They had Pinder and Canha and all these guys. And they have
Matt
a great
Joyce,
bullpen.
And Matt Joyce. although
Matt
he's hurt
Joyce
right
is
now.
out there.
They have a
But-
great bullpen, and listen, they've done an excellent job. I just don't see how I don't see it. But you know what? It's baseball, and you know what? You got to play the games, and we'll see what happens with Oakland. I mean, I do think they certainly have the way Seattle's been going lately. They certainly have a chance to
They've already caught. They've already
They're
caught.
2
and
games
passed
ahead of
Seattle.
Seattle. They're 2 games ahead of Seattle right now. They're 2.5 games behind the Yankees right now.
So MLB.com, which is the only one that I'm gonna dignify on this program because ESPNs are total garbage. They had the Red Sox 1. Fine, I'll concede that. The Astros at 2 are too high. The Cubs at 3 are way too high.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
The Indians at 4, that's too low. I think they're 1 or 2. The Phillies at 5, I think that's fair. Why shouldn't the top 4 teams be my championship series picks right now?
So where do they have the Yankees then?
The Yankees are not in good shape here, Brad. They're at 7.
All right, they're 26 games over 500. Do you realize that the only thing wrong?
But Brad, when you're
Rob,
doing these
when
power rankings, it doesn't
Rob,
matter what
you
you
do
do in May.
realize-
It's about what you're doing right
Rob,
now and what we
you
can
do
potentially do in the
realize-
future.
You do realize that if the Yankees were in any other division, okay, they'd be in first place. So I mean that to me is just silly. The only thing wrong with the Yankees is that the Red Sox are in their division. That is the only thing that's wrong
I
with them
think
right
they
now.
got more problems than that.
I think they're pretty
And
solid.
I'm not a Yankee hater. I am not a Yankee hater.
I think they're pretty solid now. The Yankees. I mean, listen.
You think they're pretty
I think
solid?
that when they have all their players playing, yes.
Okay, but they're not going to have all their players for the next month.
Nah, it's not going to be that long. It's going to be 2 weeks. They'll get Judge back in 2 weeks. They'll get Sanchez back at the end of the month. You know, and they'll be fine.
So wait, even even these rankings suck. So they got the Cubs at 3. They have the Phillies at 5 and the Dodgers at 6. I guess because the Phillies just beat the Dodgers 2 or 3, so they give them the nod.
I guess. I mean, I don't think those power rankings are very. All they do is compare how you did basically over a week or 2 time. I mean, I don't think that's an accurate gauge.
I mean, I think the Yankees have problems. I really do.
Oh, they're not. I'll tell you what. Right now, they.
I think they're going to make the playoffs because I think Seattle just isn't good and Tampa's too far out to even make a run at anything postseason related.
Tampa Bay also gave away their team when they traded
Well,
Eovaldi.
that's what they do.
They traded
Eovaldi,
Wilson
they-
Ramos.
Archer, Ramos
You know.
goes to the Phillies. So I mean, I don't understand. But the Cubs at 3.
Somebody loves the Cubs. I mean,
Third
you know, what else
all
can
of
you say?
baseball, the Cubs are the third best team. This article was written by Allison Footer of MLB.com. At Allison Footer on Twitter.
And what?
Maybe I'll send her a tweet during the break and tell her rankings suck.
What is her qualifications to make these predictions?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Follow her on Twitter and find out.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. The Astros 2, the Cubs 3. I mean,
I disagree about the Cubs being 3. I mean, that's just silly. They're not better than the Indians right now.
Doug Zeke, ESPN has nothing but hate for Philly teams. ESPN had them 11th.
ESPN is a Boston-loving kind of team.
Well, of course. They're gonna give that Boston love.
They always have.
Yeah.
They always have.
Like
so.
I remember, like a couple days ago when it was Tom Brady's birthday, it was all day just like doing all this with Tom Brady. It's ridiculous.
He's the GOAT.
No, I mean,
one of the best.
They make you want to throw up.
No, Tom Brady's the best quarterback ever.
No, Joe Montana was just as good.
Stop.
Joe Montana never lost a Super Bowl either, by the way. Just to let you know that. Joe Montana never lost a Super Bowl.
Okay, so
he also, the 49ers.
I love, because I love this. I love this narrative
also,
too.
The 49ers also played in a.
So you value
conference. The 49ers played in a conference with much better teams than New England ever did.
On a very special
Rob.
Sports Hounds.
Okay.
Robin Brad
But
arguing
I
with
love
Brady
this.
versus Montana.
I love this.
You're going to compare.
Right.
Wait, you're going to compare the teams that Brady had to play against to the teams Montana. Montana had to play against the 85 Bears, the 86 Giants. Okay, there's no comparison. You can't. The Redskins.
That would be tough. That is tough playing against Lawrence Taylor all hopped up on coke every week.
Lawrence Taylor was the greatest linebacker in the history of football.
Yeah, when he was on cocaine and not
he was
raping.
still the greatest. He was still the greatest linebacker in the history of football.
Give me Reggie White all day.
Oh, please. Reggie White. Come on.
Lawrence Taylor out of here. Scum of the
earth. Lawrence Taylor pisses on Reggie White. Stop. Lawrence Taylor was the greatest defensive player
Taylor's
of
a
all
piece of shit.
time. He was the greatest defensive player of all time. Reggie White spoke to God, and you know what God said? God said go to Green Bay because they pay more. So he left the Eagles high and dry.
The Eagles didn't offer him a contract. What's he supposed to do? Not play football?
Well, the Eagles offered him a contract. It just wasn't as much as Green Bay. So
Eagles
and
made very
Reggie won
little
a Super Bowl with Green Bay. So
very little effort.
He won a Super Bowl with Green Bay because Green Bay had a real good team.
Oh yeah.
Before he came. But I mean, I could give you several.
Getting
guys
back,
that's
but
as good
I
as
love
him.
how people like when you lose the championship, you're awful. You stink.
Nobody
you go to
says
the back of
Brady's
the bus.
awful.
You do not pass go.
I just
you
said
don't
he's not
collect
as good as-
$200.
I said he's not as good as Montana.
Guys
That's
who
not throwing him under the bus. That's just my opinion. I've
getting
seen them
there
both play.
and losing still says something.
Says that the AFC just hasn't really been all that great. The Patriots just have been a lot better than the other teams in the AFC. The 49ers had some real tough competition in the NFC. They played against some of the great
teams. It's the Patriots
teams.
and the Steelers every year.
And the Steelers
The
never have a
Steelers
good
are
defense.
good.
They never have a
It
good
was the
defense.
Jaguars last year, excuse me, but
I mean, the Steelers gave up 45 points to the Jaguars last year. I understand they lost. I understand they lost that one guy, and that was a critical
Shazier?
loss. Yeah, I understand they lost him, and that really kind of killed him. But I mean, they still gave up 45 points to the Jaguars, and the Jaguars aren't exactly an offensive juggernaut. And the Jaguars, by the way, they almost beat the Patriots last year. I mean,
but
they
doesn't
gave them
that
one hell
speak
of a
volumes
fight.
to Tom
They gave him a
Brady that
fight.
he can take these inferior Patriots teams all the way to the Super Bowl?
The Patriots are not an inferior team. I'm saying to you that they didn't have to play
The
the
Jaguars
kind of
had
teams-
more talent top to bottom than the Patriots last year.
Not on the offensive side of the ball, they didn't.
I don't know
except
about
for
that.
Bortles though. Bortles surprised.
Bortles is not.
Bortles surprised everyone.
Bortles was
last
very
year.
good.
Yeah,
And
despite
Fournette had a monster game that game. And the receivers did
they did
play
their job.
great.
Yeah,
They played great that game. But, I
Bortles
mean,
basically almost saved his career in Jacksonville.
yeah, he did. He did. I mean, he was real good.
He gets a bad rap. I get he's not a top 10 quarterback.
He's not a top 10
anything
quarterback, but especially with like every
He gets
single
a bad
rumor
rap.
where he's
But
like,
they make,
oh,
but they
trade
make
him,
like, but
release
they
him.
make they make like he's Mark Sanchez, for God's sake.
He's
not
not Mark
that bad.
Sanchez.
No.
He's better than Mark
He's
Sanchez.
not
That's what I'm saying.
terrible,
Yeah,
but
but if you listen to the way people talk about him, you think he's Mark Sanchez. He's not Mark Sanchez.
And
He's
the
a
Jaguars
reasonably
overdrafted him with the number 3 pick,
Absolutely.
which isn't Blake Bortles' fault.
which
at all.
wasn't Bortles' fault. They needed a quarterback.
He's a game manager. Bortles. He's a
He has potential to be more than that.
Oh, yeah.
He has the
in
skill set.
in his career, he's more like a game manager right now.
Well, we'll see what he does this year.
I mean,
if he
has a
plays like
chance-
he did in the playoffs last year,
Well,
that's,
then,
that's not
then
a
you're
game.
talking,
Absolutely.
then you're talking
That's
about
not a
an
game
elite
manager.
No, then you're talking about an elite quarterback. You know, I mean, but right now he's more like Alex Smith. I mean, that's basically what he is right now. You know, I mean,
yeah, that's fair. He's got to do what he did in the playoffs last year over an extended period of time to be Alex Smith. But we got to take a break, switching exclusively over to YouTube. Sports Hounds, A2D Radio. We'll be back right after this.
Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
All right, A2D Radio, Sports Hounds are back. BMW of Atlantic City Studios, exclusively on YouTube, the second hour. Know what we got this week, starting Thursday, Brad?
We have NFL football.
We do have that. But more importantly, Brad, we have the last major of the year, golf.
Yay.
Golf.
Golf.
And I am going to read my DraftKings golf picks right now, just to make Brad even more angry than he already is. The Yankees are in disaster mode right now, if you ask me. All right, $8,000 got Paul Casey, Tony Finau, very strong contender to win, 8,100. Tommy Fleetwood, 9,300. Ho Tong Lee, a sleeper pick from China, 6,700. He'll definitely make the cut. That's my value play of the week. Rory McIlroy, 11,000. I'm going to spend up on him. He is my pick to win the tournament this week. And Aaron Wise, another value pick, at 6,800. Paul Casey, Tony Finau, Tommy Fleetwood, Ho Tong Lee, Rory McIlroy, and Aaron Wise.
Golf is a very difficult game to handicap.
I know I shot a 91 today. That's why I'm so tired today.
That's me. That's my score on one hole.
You shot a 91 in this heat?
Yeah,
You were out. Wow.
yeah. There's a caddy tournament. I had to play. I won a nice 5-wood.
That's pretty good. In this heat?
I know.
To go out and play like
I
that?
didn't get any scores higher than a 6.
That's very good. That's
One of the hardest
that's quality.
top 25 hardest courses in Pennsylvania.
That's quality. That's quality. I mean, it was brutal today.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was hot. I
Very
needed
hot.
a new I needed a new shirt at the turn. And
I mean,
unfortunately, I did.
I
not
mean,
have
I give you. I don't care if you were on a golf cart or not on a golf cart, whatever it is, man. Just to be out there that long in that heat, wow.
Well, you have carts. How about days like when I'm carrying 2 bags?
Oh my God. I mean,
I'll pass on that one.
yeah, that's rough.
Well, that's what I do. That's what I do to make the Sports Hounds happen, Frank.
Absolutely.
That's okay.
All right,
do
so
what you
those are
gotta
my
do.
golf picks to recap. Paul Casey, Tony Finau, Tommy Fleetwood, Ho Tong Lee, Rory McIlroy, and Aaron Wise.
How come Henrik's not in there this time?
No. Henrik has not been he's not been as sharp as he's been in years past.
Okay, and no Spieth.
No, I like longer hitters at this
Okay.
at this event.
Well,
He's very good.
I'll go with you because I'm not a golf.
He played
fanatic
well
at all.
he played well at Carnoustie at the Open, but I mean, I just don't think his game matches up well. And for whatever reason, he can't putt anymore. I'm sick of picking Ricky Fowler and being disappointed.
Ricky Fowler always
Justin
loses.
Rose is a good pick, but he withdrew last week with a back injury. I don't know, back injury. In
That's
golf,
bad with golf. That's bad with golf. yeah.
And-
well, that's bad with anything.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
especially golf because you can't get any torque on
And
your
Tiger,
swing.
man, he was playing well. He played well the first 2 days in the last weekend's tournament. He folded like a cheap 10 on the weekend.
Problem with Tiger is he just can't hit the ball as far as these other guys can.
It's true.
I mean that's
He's
I mean,
inaccurate with it. He's one of the best iron, like with his approach
Yeah,
shots
he-
and with his irons.
Absolutely, and he
He's
can
still
putt.
one of the
He's-
best out
can
there. He
still
might
putt.
be the best out there.
He's not long enough anymore. I mean, is that because of
He
his
is-
age or the injuries?
He's long enough. He's not accurate enough with his length. You got to combine the accuracy because if you miss the
well,
rough,
yeah.
if you miss the rough at these fancy courses, I mean, you
You mean if
barely
you put
see
it
the
in-
ball.
If you put it in the rough, you're screwed.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to be on the fairway. These guys hit at 350 and they're in the middle of the fairway.
Yeah. Right
Tiger
down
might hit
Broadway.
at 330, 340, maybe 350 if he ramps it up, but he's just not. He's not accurate with it. He'll
Doesn't
win
he-
again. He'll win again.
Doesn't he use a lot of irons when he hits his long shots now and not woods? Is that
Well,
true?
yeah,
That's what
I
I've
mean,
heard.
Yeah.
He's just not great with woods anymore.
Yeah.
That's
fair.
That's what I keep hearing.
The driver is he used to just bury everyone with his driver. So you hit it further than everyone right down the middle.
Yeah, I think injuries played a large part of
Absolutely.
that, though. Yeah, I mean, that's...
And he's 42, and you got
Yeah.
Justin Thomas out there, who's 23. And
Yeah, I mean, the young kids can hit the ball further than him. But, I mean, you'd expect that, though.
So those are my golf picks.
What
Hopefully-
about Phil, Rob? Are we gonna hear anything from
Phil?
Phil?
I love Phil Mickelson.
I think we
How
all
about
do.
the big match over Thanksgiving weekend in Las Vegas?
That'll be entertaining.
Connor and what's his name? The Russian guy?
What?
What?
Are we talking about MMA?
No, we're talking about Tiger
no,
and
we're talking about
Mickelson.
Tiger versus Phil for $10 million.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, it's gonna be big, exciting stuff.
Okay.
$10 million.
Did you hear about the MMA match?
Yeah, Conor McGregor. I don't care.
Yeah,
I
but
used
he's
to care
fighting
about
He's fighting that Russian guy though. That's gonna be a heck-
Nagomedov.
Yeah.
That would be a very entertaining matchup.
That's
Yeah.
gonna be a good one because you know what? This is one
Since
match
I
Conor
talked
could
about
actually
golf,
lose.
you guys can talk about that.
I'm not
bullshit
much of an
sport.
MMA guy, but I
I think
mean,
Conor could actually lose this time.
What a Vince McMahon wannabe Dana White is.
Oh yeah. Though the one thing I really want to see, Golovkin and Alvarez too on the 15th.
Cool.
That'll be
Great.
something very
If
entertaining.
Habib gets Conor McGregor on the ground,
Oh yeah,
he will win.
absolutely.
He will win. Nobody gets up when he gets him on the when he gets guys on the ground.
Yeah, that.
That guy when he gets control, he's
Oh yeah.
deadly. Conor has to stay on his feet.
And it is week 1 of preseason. The Eagles play on Thursday. They host the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's
Tell you
gonna
what,
be fun.
the Eagles take no prisoners with the teams they play in preseason the first 2 weeks. What do they play? The Steelers and the Patriots?
I don't even know.
Yeah.
They usually do play the Patriots. in
Yeah, they got the
preseason.
Steelers and the
They
Patriots.
seem
the
to
first
always
2
play the
games.
Jets.
Yeah,
in
they all-
the, in
Yeah,
the fourth
yeah.
game
end.
too.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
been
well,
like
because it's a nice short distance.
yeah, 90-minute drive.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know, and they can be home and in their beds at night.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why they do that.
and there was like a larger
Giants
reasoning
always play
behind
the
it,
Giants
but-
always play the Jets and the Ravens in preseason every year.
They
too.
play the Eagles play the Ravens a lot. They seem to
Yeah.
play the Steelers
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah, because
Patriots.
they're short hop, skip, and jumps away. So that's pretty logical.
So,
I think the Giants play the Browns again. I mean, hopefully in preseason this year, Odell won't get hurt and miss the whole season. I mean, it'd be
what's
nice
going
if that
on with
didn't
his
happen.
contract?
Oh, they're
extension?
working. They're talking right now.
Conflicting reports about how that's going.
I heard today, according to what I've heard, they're talking and it's very all positive right now. So they're gonna get that done. Odell's gonna get paid.
They should. He should.
He will.
Yep.
The Giants aren't gonna screw that up.
And
They,
then
they want listen. They want to keep him. He
the
wants
big news
to
in
play
the
and-
NFL is these holdouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nitro Freak, Triple G, and Canelo shouldn't happen. Triple G destroyed it. I'm assuming he's.
And David Roska is saying Oakland and Seattle odds-on favorite to win the wild card. Keep dreaming, David. Your anti-Yankee
I don't buy
sentiment.
that,
Your
but-
anti-Yankee sentiment is just making me
The
laugh.
Yankees are not good right. They need to get it on track quick. I think they got some easy games this week, right? The Rangers are coming to
Play
town.
the White Sox and the Rangers. Let's see what the score is right now tonight. They're playing the White Sox. You got Lance Lynn on the hill against Dylan Covey. Let's see what's going on.
Yankees are up 2-0.
Okay, so it's 2-0. What in the bottom of the fourth?
Yep.
Lynn looks pretty solid so far.
Well, Lynn is way better than Sonny Gray.
Yeah, well, Lynn's not going to just get bombed every time he goes out there like Sonny Gray did. Lynn will be a serviceable pitcher for them. And he's definitely not going to get bombed by the White Sox like Gray did by the Orioles. I mean, that was ridiculous. See, if you look at the Yankees right now, instead of Gray and Herman and their starting pitching staff, they're going to have Lynn and Happ. I mean, unfortunately, Happ got that stupid hand, foot, and mouth disease and couldn't pitch Saturday, so they had Chance Adams.
He had gingivitis.
Whatever the hell that stupid thing is.
They don't
but
have Listerine and floss in New York. You got Syndergaard with
I don't
gingivitis.
know.
You got Hap with gingivitis.
Well, they have
Happ
the
came
Hudson
with,
River.
Happ came with it from Toronto.
From Canada.
Yeah.
Oh.
You can't blame New York completely on that.
Maybe we need.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
they're pitching
David
right
Roska.
now.
How about the Rays? I mean, the Rays.
Oh, stop with the Rays. Stop it. Stop it. What are they? One game ahead over 500?
Yeah, the Rays are not gonna. I mean, I like what the Rays. They've done a lot with a little. I mean, the two lowest payrolls in baseball are the Rays and the A's. I think one of them is going to be a division winner.
Oh, come on. The Rays are not going to. I mean, excuse me. The A's are not going to.
Yeah, everyone keeps laughing, and every week we sit down at 8:00 and we go, "Oh wow, it's only 4 games. Next week it'll be 2 games."
Well, it's 2 now. As far as the Yankees and A's are concerned,
I'm talking about the
2.
West.
Oh, okay.
4 games in the West.
I just can't see them beating Houston.
Why? Because they don't spend $1 billion every offseason like the Red Sox and the Dodgers and these other teams.
No, it's just that they're pitching. I don't think their pitching's good enough. I don't think their starting pitching is good enough right now.
You're so fixated on names. You're not looking at what the players are doing right now.
No, it's not names. I know what the players are doing right now. Their starting pitching, other than Minaya, really is.
They're
is
33 and
very
10
shaky.
in their last 43
They're playing
games.
great. They're playing great baseball.
That's
Rob.
a huge sample size.
But they're also 7 games under 500 against teams that are over 500. They beat up the crappy teams and they don't beat up the good teams. Let's see what they do against the Dodgers this week.
Nitro Freak says he's an MMA guy and thinks Connor could lose, but he won't go to the ground. I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
I
I
couldn't
think
care.
Connor-
I think MMA is stupid. MMA had me for a split second, and then Dana White turned into a Vince McMahon wannabe, and now I don't pay attention.
I think that's going to
when
be a
Floyd
hell of a fight,
Mayweather
though.
when Floyd Mayweather gets in the octagon, give me a call. Maybe I'll pay for that pay-per-view. Seriously,
Yeah,
why
agree.
why else would I
Yeah.
pay for an MMA pay-per-view if it's not McGregor
Right.
versus Mayweather in the octagon? No point. Stupid. All MMA's, all UFC's good guys go play.
They
with
go
Vin-
elsewhere. Yeah.
They go play with Vince McMahon.
Because Vince McMahon pays more money, and for the most part it's scripted, and they could still get hurt, but there's less risk of getting
Very
hurt.
much so. Bob Brinkman checking in. They should cut the preseason down to 2 games. Injuries in the preseason are a killer.
I mean, he's not wrong about that, but the problem is these teams really need to go out and play games and get sharp. Otherwise, football is just going to be so
That's
ugly.
such a bunch of bullshit.
It's going to be so ugly. I mean, the beginning of the season is pretty ugly.
Well, it's
going to
get ugly with all these rule changes where you can't even touch the guy or else it's a 15-yard penalty.
Well, yeah, I
They
know.
should just play flag football.
It's getting.
We're
going to
get the week 2, and everyone's going to be on the chats and on all the shows on A2D complaining about the rules, how they're not going to watch anymore.
No, they'll still watch. They'll watch because the Eagles are going to be good, so they'll watch. So stop saying that you're not going to watch because of the rules.
I didn't say that.
No, I know you will. I know you will.
Brad, don't pay attention to these guys. They just hate on the Yanks. I don't hate on I mean, I'm fair and objective when it comes to the Yankees. I'm a much bigger Yankee fan than I am a Red Sox fan. Yankees aren't a good team right now. They're not playing good baseball.
But they have a chance.
They're just not.
They have a chance. To
Obviously,
right the
there's 50 games left.
ship. and they have a very favorable schedule, and they still have a lot of talent on their team.
I don't think
They don't have as much talent as the Red Sox right
even
now. I would agree with that.
Even at their best, everyone healthy, all hands on deck. I don't think they beat the Indians in a 7-game series. I don't think they beat the Red Sox.
They
in a
beat the
7-game
Indians.
series.
They beat up the Indians this year pretty well. They won 5 out of 7 against the
Okay,
Indians.
well, if you had to put a gun to my head right now, I would say that the Yankees have played
And they
their
also-
best ball already. I would say
No.
the Yankees have peaked.
We don't know that.
Nobody
Listen,
knows anything for
we don't-
sure.
I mean, have they peaked? They were playing better when they had all their players playing. I mean, as I said, you lose your 2 top players. What do you expect? No team is going to be as good when they miss their top 2 hitters. Now, does that excuse them for losing 4 straight to Boston? Of course not. They should.
That's a bad
they
loss
should've-
on Sunday night.
They should have won Sunday night. They should have won. They should have won Thursday. Aaron Boone blew the game Thursday, and he also blew the game Sunday because he didn't pitch Chapman at all during the week. And every time Chapman doesn't pitch, and you give him a week off, he comes out and he can't throw strikes.
I don't think Aaron Boone's very good.
Aaron Boone is terrible. He's
Remember when I
clueless.
offered you the trade Clintack and Kapler for Cashman and Boone? I'm
Okay,
taking that
I don't think
off
Cashman.
the table. I'll keep
I
my
don't think
guys.
Cashman is the problem, but I do think
No,
Boone is
Cashman
the problem.
is the best GM in professional sports.
Cashman is not the problem, but Boone is a problem. Cashman should have just let Girardi stay.
Bob
I mean,
Brinkman.
He was.
I told
he
you
was
that
very
was. I
hasty.
told you that was dumb. I told you were gonna. I don't think we were here at A2D yet, but I told you were gonna rue the day when you guys canned
Listen,
Joe
I'm
Girardi
not saying.
like that.
I'm not saying that
He made
Girardi,
a huge mental mistake in the playoffs. I'll give you
I'm
that.
not saying that
that
Girardi,
did not warrant him losing his job.
I'm not saying that
Because
Girardi,
Aaron Boone, I don't watch every
no,
Yankees game.
Aaron Boone's
Obviously,
terrible.
but
Aaron Boone.
he doesn't seem that good.
He's too laid back, and the Yankees play too laid back. They don't play focused. They definitely didn't come prepared to play this weekend. And I'll tell you what, Aaron Boone sitting there letting Jonathan Holder pitch to 8 guys on Thursday night and giving up 7 runs is a deer in headlights move. That is probably the most incompetent, inept performance by a manager that I've ever seen. How do you allow a guy who can't get anybody out to pitch to 8 guys and give up 7 runs and let the game completely get away?
I don't
As
know.
soon as that game was tied, Zach Britton should have been in there to stop the bleeding.
I would have.
I mean, if Terry Francona was managing the Indians and that happened, you damn better be ready to know Andrew Miller would have been in there to shut stuff down and stop it already. I mean, that's how the game is supposed to be played. Aaron Boone is a fool. He has no clue how to manage this team.
Bob Brinkman back to the NFL preseason. You still have a chance to see your rookies with 2 preseason games. Far less chance of injury. The preseason is stupid. You don't need 4 preseason games. It's ridiculous. It's overkill. Nobody cares.
Why even play preseason games then?
Cool. Even better.
Okay, why even play them?
Fine tuning.
Fine
Yeah,
by me if
it's
you don't
pretty
want
much.
to play them. I don't care. But, I mean, Frank, you were at the open practice.
Yeah.
Not that you saw, but, I mean, how many roster spots are, like, realistically available on this Eagles team?
53. 53 and then the 10 practice squad.
I understand. That's.
You mean that are available to?
I understand. I
Oh.
understand that, Frank. I mean, like, how many aren't legitimately spoken for?
Right.
5,
About 5.
and then
5.
whatever you
We
do
have a
with
couple.
the 10.
We have a couple of comments here on
5,
the.
maybe 10
Mike
spots.
Parker says
You need
the
4.
next,
Hold on, but you need 4 preseason games to figure out 5 roster slots.
I mean,
The answer is no.
I mean,
The
it all
answer's
it all
no.
depends on the position battle. I mean, the big story going into this preseason is who's going to be running back number 4 for the Eagles.
I need 4 preseason games to figure that out.
Pretty much.
Go ahead, Brad. Hit us.
Okay. Mike Parker wants to make the point that the next 20 draft picks for the Yankees will be pitchers and good fielders and players who hit for average. The home run sells tickets, but clearly won't win them a division. Mike, if the Yankees were in any other division besides the American League East, they'd be in first place. So, I mean, that's a very poor argument. Nitro Freak, yeah, Boone is not managing the bullpen well, but I don't dislike him. Nitro
Brad
Freak,
hates him.
all I can tell you is
Brad hates
he's
him.
a blithering idiot. The guy has
But you
no
hate
clue.
you hate every manager.
He has no clue how to run a team. And one thing I will say about Joe
Imagine
Girardi,
if we did this in like in the late '90s with Torrey.
Oh, jeez.
Took him 6 games to win the World Series this year instead of 5.
I didn't complain about Joe Torre that much. Not until towards
never.
the end when he was killing his relievers by bringing the same guys in every game. That was a problem. But I mean, Joe Torre did what Joe Torre did. He did a great job with that team. But that team was also supremely
You hated
talented. Girardi.
too, and I bet you wish you had Girardi
I
right
didn't
now.
like Girardi either, and Girardi almost blew the series against the Indians with that stupid non-review when Sanchez told him that the ball hit the knob of the bat. But that shouldn't have been a
Houston does have a better record, Mike.
Do they right now? What's Houston's record? How many games over 500 are they now?
Oh, I just had it, Brad. I just X'd it out to do my draft,
Okay.
golf picks. I'll get it right here. Standings. It's coming.
Yep,
It's coming.
It's there.
It's coming. 71 and 42.
So they're 29 games over, and the Yankees are 26 over. Okay.
Houston's
I
not
stand-
that. I don't think Houston's
I stand-
all that in a bag of chips either.
I stand corrected, but Mike, they'd be in first place in any division in the National League. They'd be in first place in the American League Central, and they'd be 1.5 games behind the Astros. So I mean, as far as hitting home runs, That is not the problem right now. The problem with the Yankees is that their top 2 hitters on the team are not playing. They're not in the lineup, and they're not playing, and they're not scoring enough runs. And the starting pitching did not get the job done against the Boston Red Sox.
Well,
That
they
was
better get it
the
together
problem.
because it's not a selection committee like NCAA basketball.
No, absolutely.
The best records get in. It's not
Okay.
like, oh, well, you almost beat out the A's, but you didn't have Judge and Sanchez for this time, so you get to go in over the A's. That's not how it works.
Okay, and Mike Parker wants to say the Yankees have nearly the same record as the Oakland A's, and you could say the AL West is better top
They're
to
within
bottom.
2.5 games.
They're within 2.5 games. I agree. Yankees have played Oakland already.
So
They
you
won
can't
2
disagree. That's what it is.
Yeah, we had the Yankees played Oakland. They won 2 out of 3. They played Seattle. They swept Seattle. They destroyed the Angels. They destroyed Houston this
And
year.
they're good.
As far as
the Mariners,
that division is concerned, the Yankees own the American League West. If the Yankees played as well against the American League East as they did against the American League West, they'd be a lot closer to Boston. Unfortunately, they didn't. So,
but the A's, and the Astros, and the Mariners, they're going to see a lot of each other before September hits.
yeah, well, they're going to beat each other up.
Well, we'll see what happens.
And that's the Yankees.
Well, if the A's continue this hot streak, that's September 1st, they're going to be in the lead in the AL
well,
West.
guess what? The Yankees actually do go to Seattle in September, and they go to Oakland in September. So that's going to be an interesting road trip.
I'm not buying what the Mariners are selling right now. I'm just not. But I mean that Yankees Athletics series could be for home field.
Okay, as far as Mike Parker, I'm done picking on the Yankees. Nitro Fee can't defend and is batting under 200. Who are we talking about, Nitro? Are we talking about Sanchez? Sanchez also had 14 home runs and 200 at-bats and 44 RBIs. So, I mean, as far as defending, he's got a great arm. He stops the running game.
I don't
game.
understand.
And
He says Sanchez is a bum. He's the least of our problems.
Sanchez is not a bum. Sanchez is a real good player. He's having a shitty year as
far
as his batting average.
You guys take Alfaro and Ramos, and we'll take Sanchez.
Oh, hell no. I want Sanchez. Sanchez can hit the ball, and he's got a great arm. Listen, is he a great receiver? No, we know that.
Mike Parker.
Okay, but he's got a great arm, and he's got big-time power. I mean, you can't deny that. Even hitting 190, he had 14 homers and 44 RBIs and under 200 at-bats. So, I mean, I don't know what else I can say except that his power numbers are fine. He obviously is batting at a low average, but you know what? If the guy's going to hit 30 home runs from the catcher position and knock in 80 runs, I don't care what his batting average is. I'll take that from a catcher all day long. And it also makes the Yankees' batting order a lot longer, not to mention Judge, who every time he's up, the count ends up being 3-2, and the pitchers always have to throw 8-9 pitches every time he's up. You know, I mean, the Yankees right now missing Judge, that's a killer for them. It really is. I mean, you knew that this was going to hurt their team not having him. But not having him and Sanchez is a killer right now. And no, they're not as good as Boston without these guys.
Mike Parker is avoiding Tiger Woods for the PGA Championship. I wonder what Mike thinks of my picks. He probably didn't hear him. He always misses them.
Oh,
I
don't know.
Repeat him.
Mike Parker says that Sixto Sanchez is a bum. I've never seen him pitch, so.
Who cares about Sixto Sanchez right now?
Nitro Freak
Sixto
says
Sanchez should be an Oriole
we
right
need
now.
Judge back. That's an understatement, and it's realistic to think that they'll make it to the World Series. But Houston and Boston, yikes!
See, no one mentions Cleveland. No one mentions Cleveland. It's always Houston, Boston, and the Yankees.
Because Cleveland.
Why doesn't anyone mention Cleveland?
Because Cleveland basically has been taking the season off because they have
it's
no
not their fault that the Twins blow.
And Detroit blows. And Chicago
Not
blows.
their fault.
And Kansas City
Not
blows.
their fault.
No, it's not their fault. But
and the Twins weren't really supposed to blow.
My opinion about the Indians is if they were really motivated, they would have a better record. I just think that they're probably, and I don't watch the Indians a lot, but I'm assuming Terry Francona is just being smart, not worrying about home field and trying to make sure these guys are well rested and ready to play the playoffs because the division is it's theirs easily this year. It wouldn't even be close. As far as let's see, Mike Parker, if it's a hamate fracture, his swing won't be the same. It's not a hamate fracture, Mike. He has a chipped bone in his wrist. It is not a hamate fracture.
One more time for Mike. Paul Casey, Tony Female, Tommy Fleetwood, Ho Tong Lee, Rory McIlroy is my pick to win, and Aaron Wise. Those are my picks. 9 o'clock, every championship week. Those are when I do my picks.
And you're pretty good at this.
I haven't been.
Oh, you've been pretty good at this.
I haven't been.
Yeah, you know.
I
golf,
tried to
though,
play.
Rob.
I tried to play last week. My team freaking stunk because Tiger stunk on the weekend. I thought Tiger was really going to run.
Golf is really hard to. I mean, jeez. Golf is
Mike's
almost
better at it.
impossible.
Mike's better at it than me.
Golf is really hard to. Golf's hard to handicap. By the way, the Yankees. For those of you who want to knock me, I know, big deal. They're playing the White Sox, but it's 3-0, and you know, as I've said before, they're playing soft teams now. They have a chance to get better in a hurry against teams against the White Sox, who have very little, if any, pitching, and they're not a great hitting team either. Lance Lynn doing a nice job so far with 4 shutout innings, which is probably more shutout innings than Sonny Gray has had all season. I'm just wondering if Sonny Gray is going to get traded, because I just don't see a place for him on this team. Mike Parker likes your picks, by the way.
Hey Frank, you're
Yes.
a big college football guy.
I am.
What There's no way Urban Meyer keeps his job, right?
I don't think he's going to keep his job.
No shot.
There's no chance, and especially
And
for
then
the
he'll
people
be-
who
and then
put
he'll be-
football over morals. That's a big.
He'll be hired by
issue.
somebody else in 30 seconds.
Here's the only thing I'm going to say in defense of that. Now, it really doesn't hold weight because he defended a coach, not a player.
Right.
You can get. I mean, they have a top 5 recruiting class every year.
every
I
year.
could coach their defensive line and
Right.
be one of the best groups in the whole country. If these guys don't win, they lose their jobs.
Oh yeah.
So, like, when college basketball, when they're paying guys to keep up with Kentucky, because if they don't beat Kentucky, you know, they're out of a
Right.
job. I somewhat understand. Doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
And you can put any North Carolina, whoever you want to
Yeah.
put
Your
in.
North Carolinas, your Dukes,
Wherever you want,
your
yeah.
Louisvilles.
Louisville's, yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, so I get it. But this guy was a coach. And then he says he followed the rules. He didn't follow the rules. I mean, if Joe Paterno didn't keep his job,
Right.
why should this guy?
Absolutely.
That's why both Tom Izzo and D'Antoni up at Michigan State, they shouldn't have jobs.
Right.
If Joe Paterno lost his job over
that.
As Asmer, me of everything, says Sonny Gray to the Phillies is heating up for the August waiver wire.
yeah, no thanks.
Oh, please.
I'll pass.
Why would you
No
guys
thanks.
want him? He stinks. And Lance Lynn is like Cam Newton. When he's good, he's nearly unhittable. When he's bad, he's way up. Well, yeah, Lance Lynn is like a number 4, number 3, number 4, number 5 type pitcher. He's a back at the end rotation pitcher, but he's very competitive, and he's going to give you 6 decent innings most of the time. I mean, he's one of those guys that signed late this year, and got off to a terrible start. But since June, he's been pretty good. I mean, I think his ERA is like 3.6 in the American League since June, which is pretty good when you consider there's a DH.
He
so.
can't. He's got to go to the Kansas City or Milwaukee or Arizona or
Gray?
yeah, like
Yeah, he's a
he needs a
stiff.
small market.
He hangs that curve. He throws that curveball, and he hangs
I don't
it
think
every
he can
time.
handle pitch like Randy Johnson, Hall of Famer, couldn't handle pitching in New York. Some guys can't take heat like that.
No, you're right about that.
I think Sonny Gray's one of those guys. I think Sonny Gray I think he has the talent to be a major league pitcher.
He's
got
a
to pitch in
head case.
Kansas City or Minnesota.
Sonny
or
Gray.
one
Sonny
of these
Gray is-
smaller market teams.
Sonny Gray
Tampa
is
Bay,
trash.
that'd be a good.
Yeah,
Sonny
he's
Gray is
trash.
not
No,
trash.
he's terrible. He's a big stiff. I mean, you know, Sonny Gray is so bad. He doesn't just hurt your team. He takes you right out of games and forces you to use your bullpen for 7 innings.
That game that he let up 7 runs, that he really
against
got,
the Orioles.
he got hung out to dry by his defense.
Oh,
twice.
come on. He was getting pounded in that game. He got
He made
pounded.
two bad errors in the big inning.
Yeah, but he made one of them.
No, Gleyber Torres. I guess they're
Torres made one, but he made one too.
not. No, Torres had 2 mistakes. I shouldn't call them errors because technically, I guess they're not errors in the.
He
column.
made a mental error,
2.
but that wasn't. Sonny Gray still get.
He didn't cover first on the bunt, and he didn't cover second.
He made 2 mental errors. Okay, but Sonny Gray also got pounded. That doesn't excuse him for that home run that he gave up to Troy Mancini. I mean, that ball was hit into Monument Park, for crying out loud. I mean, he stinks. That guy, every time he throws a curveball, it sits right over the middle of the plate. I mean, Sonny Gray, the classic Sonny Gray inning is he gets the first 2 guys out, and then you're ready to get into the dugout, and then it usually starts with a walk, then a solid single, and then another walk, and then the next guy hits a home run or a bases clearing double. That's the usual Sonny Gray because he starts nibbling because he doesn't trust his stuff. I mean, that's basically it. And Sonny Gray was good.
Would you trust your stuff if you were Sonny Gray right now?
Well,
no, we need to change the scenery.
He hasn't trusted his stuff since he came to New York last year. That's the shame of it. And he was good in Oakland. He was very good in Oakland. I mean, that curve had bite when he was in Oakland. I don't know. That curve just sits in the middle of the plate.
Frankie
with the Yankees.
Lance Lynn is like Cam Newton. When he's on, he's nearly unhittable, but when he's bad, he's way off. I mean, I get Lance Lynn as a nice player, but Cam Newton was the NFL MVP in 2015.
I wish he was as good as Cam Newton when he was on top of his games. Lance Lynn is a serviceable, decent pitcher.
And it looks like he's pitching well tonight. It looks like he can, handle the
He can handle the White Sox. He'll handle the Rangers. He'll handle he's going to play all the crap. He's going to pitch against all the crappy teams. And he'll keep them under control. And the Yankees' offense
let's say
the
Yankees Severino goes out and pitches in the wild card game and the Yankees win.
He's not going to pitch in the wild card game the way things are going right now. Tanaka is, because Tanaka's pitching better than Severino right now.
Okay. Whatever. We'll say Tanaka. Do you want to just put Severino in for the New York? He's clearly a better pitcher than Tanaka. He's going through a rush.
In a big game, I take Tanaka over him any day.
Okay. So Tanaka's going to pitch the wild card game. So then who pitches games 1 and 2 against the Red Sox, the Indians, or the Astros?
Severino and probably Severino, and Severino would be obviously one. And I guess you'd have to wait and see who's pitching the best between CC, Happ, and Lynn.
And you think that's good enough to beat Boston, Oakland, Houston, Cleveland in a 7-game series? Is it still 5 games in the division?
It's 5 games in the first series, and then it's
7 in the championship in the
championship. Basically, at this point, I think the Yankees could beat anybody if they're healthy because of their hitting.
Okay.
I mean, they were doing it. They were doing it before.
If you're happy, I'm
injuries.
happy, my friend.
Listen,
I think you're nuts.
I know what I saw this year. I know what I saw last year. This is a good hitting team. I believe in their offense when healthy. Right now, they're not healthy. But I mean,
this year's American League playoffs are going to be a hell of a lot harder than last year's playoffs.
They weren't so easy last year either. They were down. Listen.
Yeah, and it's going to be even harder this year.
Well, Rob, keep in mind, last season they were down 2-0 against Cleveland.
True.
Okay, and they went into Yankee Stadium down 2-0. Tanaka pitched against Bauer, and Greg Bird hit a big home run, and they won that game 1-0. Then the next game, I don't remember who was pitching, but the next game, I think Sabathia pitched Game 4, and the Yankees murdered the Indians. I think they beat them like 9-2 or something like that. Then they go to Game 5, and Didi Gregorius lit up Corey Kluber, and they won that game. And then against Houston, they lost the first 2 games. Then they go back to New York, and they win the next 3. And unfortunately for them, they lost the next 2 in Houston, and they lost the series. But you know what? They've faced adversity before, and they were able to come back. It's basically pretty much the same team. Although, okay, you have Glaber and Andujar as your second baseman and third baseman. And I think those guys are better than Sterling Castro and Todd Frazier. And I definitely think the starting pitching at this point, when you have Lynn and Jay Happ, we're certainly better than last year's 4 and 5 pitchers. I mean, they should be able to hang on to that wild card, that home game wild card. And I like the Yankees at home against anybody in a wild card game. And as I said before, if the Yankees are at full strength, I like their chances against anybody. I don't care if it's Boston, Cleveland, or Houston. It doesn't matter to me. They're going to have to play the best to be the best. You got to beat the best. Bring them on. But the Yankees need to get healthy. They're not going to win against anybody with this lineup the way it is right now. Not against top teams.
That's a good Ric Flair quote.
To be the man, you got to beat the man.
Woo!
Let's see. F. Deems wants to know what the rule about the wild card. The second wild card has to be within a certain amount of games behind the first wild card. What?
No, it's
No,
the
that's
top
silly.
two.
It's the top two teams.
It's the top two teams that don't win the division face
Yeah.
off in the wild card game in a one-game playoff.
Wants to know, and ASMOR wants to know: do we still believe in CC, or do we wish he just retires? CC pitches better at home than he does on the road.
I don't understand.
So I mean,
I don't know how he managed to throw 79 pitches in what was it, 3 innings?
because he
on
wasn't throwing,
Thursday?
he wasn't throwing strikes. He
That's
was
like
giving up a lot of runs.
impossible.
But I mean, he
79 pitches in 3 innings.
listen. He would have had it. He would have had given up 0. He gave up 2 runs in 3 innings. He would have given up 0 runs in 3 innings had he not airmailed that slow roller back to the mound down the right field line. That would have been the 3rd out, but he threw it down the right field line and 2 runs scored. And then after he got the 3rd out, Boone took him out for the 4th inning and he put in Holder. And then he just sat there and watched Holder get pounded and not get anybody out, which was just, as I say, clueless managing. You can't let a game get out of hand.
The Phillies are underway, Outlet. We got about 15 minutes to go here on the Sports Hounds A2D Radio. Cesar Hernandez, Reese Hoskins, Nick Williams in the 3-hole, Carlos Santana, Cabrera, Odubel Herrera down in the lineup tonight. Franco Alfaro.
Is there a lefty pitcher?
Jake Arrieta. Is Zach Godley a lefty?
I'm just trying to figure out why he would be batting that far down.
Godley is
Throws a righty. He's a
righty.
righty.
Interesting.
Yeah, Williams is in the 3-hole tonight, not Herrera. Interesting. We'll see.
Isn't Williams
It's
the
going
one
to be a
you
tough
always
game.
beat?
It's gonna be
Isn't
a tight-
Williams Williams the guy you
a
beat
tough
up all
game
the
tonight.
time?
Yeah, I don't think he's that good.
Yeah, you're not. I know you're not the biggest fan
I
of
don't
him.
think he's that good.
We now
I mean,
go into the 6th inning in
starting,
Chicago.
but I mean,
it's 4-0.
just 4-0 Yankees. Yeah, 10-0 Indians over the Twins. Miami leads St. Louis 2-0. The Mets are up 6-4 on the Reds. Yankees up 4-0. That's in the top of the 6th. Seattle. That's at the end of 6. They're up on Texas 3-0. Cubs and Royals 1-1. Pirates and Rockies are scoreless.
Phillies didn't score in the top of the 1st. Diamondbacks coming up to the plate.
But getting back to Nick Williams, and Nick Williams, he's an okay player. I think he's a 4th outfielder. But I mean,
He hits a lot of home runs though, doesn't he?
261 with 15 homers. I mean,
That's not bad. What's wrong with that?
I don't know. I just think that
I
want to sign. I want to sign Bryce Harper.
Yeah, okay. Well, all right. If you want to compare it to Bryce Harper, yeah. But I mean, these 15 home runs is pretty good.
He does
That's
hit
not
40
bad.
points higher than Carlos Santana, who makes $20 million a year.
Boy, I mean, if you think he's really bad,
He's
I
not
don't
really
think
bad. I just don't like him.
Oh, okay.
I just don't like him.
No, I understand. You're
There's
the
players
same
on
way.
the Yankees that you kill, and I scratch my
I'm
head.
not a fan. I'm not a fan of Aaron Hicks.
And I don't.
But,
I don't
you
like.
know, But that, I mean,
It
listen.
seems like he struggles to catch routine fly balls. Nick Williams, that is.
But does he catch him? All right.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
catches the routine ones. I don't know. Maybe I'm being hard of him. I demand a lot from my baseball team.
Yeah,
Brad.
Nick Williams has the potential. He just thinks he's Mike Trout, according to Asmer, me of everything. And the F teams, if you're 5 games behind as the second wild card, you don't get to play a playing game. No. Oh, if you're 5, no, that's not how it works. That's not how it works.
What did he say?
He thinks if you're a certain amount of games behind the wild card team, it's the second wild card. You shouldn't make it in as the wild card.
No, that's
no.
that's
I mean,
not,
if
that's
you're
not
thinking
accurate.
if the Yankees win 100 games, and Oakland wins 90 or 85 or whatever, however many they win, that they don't deserve to make the playoffs. No, that's not how it works.
That's not how it works.
You know, it's the two teams. It doesn't matter if one team is one game over 500 and the other team is 40 games over 500. They're going to play one game, and you know what? I mean, if you don't win the division, then that's the way it goes. I mean, you have to play a playing game. That's just, and it's one game. Yeah, the only way you can avoid these kind of
Excellent
situations
addition to the game of baseball.
It
Excellent addition.
It is. Listen, the only way you're going to avoid teams with superior records, being at a disadvantage is if you'd stack them all up, in one division and let the top 6 teams make it or something like that. Then the teams with the best records will make it, but they're never going to do that because it's going to destroy all the good rivalries. So, I mean, that's not going to happen. I mean,
and it'll be all big markets for the most part.
Absolutely. I mean, you'll never see, you're going to see the Yankees in Boston playing 10 times a year maybe if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to see the Yankees playing Kansas City 10 times.
It takes away the regional rivalry.
Exactly. I mean, that's not going to work,
All right. Eagles play the Steelers Thursday night. Frank, what do you want to see? What are you looking for Thursday? Anything? What do you have your eye on?
I'm going to take a look on.
I'll have to listen to Birds tomorrow night. Birds of a Feather.
Oh, yeah. They'll be on tomorrow night.
What are they on, at 8? 8 to 10?
I believe 8 to 10, maybe a little bit later. I know they took the week off. I know we might be touching on it on the Fix on Wednesday. I mean, going into Thursday's game, I just hope it's – I just want to take a look at the running back battle.
No injuries?
Hopefully no injuries. I know maybe see how Carson's doing with everybody playing. How
do you think that's going to work with Ajayi and Clement?
I think Ajayi is going to get most of the work.
Yeah, Ajayi's going to get most of the work. Clement's going to be the
change of pace guy.
Clement
Sproles,
could push, though.
Your potential third down back. And then,
well, if he outperforms him, he's going to play.
And then whoever at
should I really be
fourth.
expecting anything from Sproles this year?
I think with Sproles, it's going to be a very light load with him.
He'll be a third down.
He'll be the punt returner, right?
Yeah, and he'll be a third down. And he'll be a third down back.
But I think but with Sproles retiring and the fears of another injury, I mean, this will probably be.
I'm not scared of him getting injured at all. I'm putting him out there. He already said it's his last year.
Yeah, it's his last year.
What do I care if he gets hurt?
It's
just play again anyway.
It's just figuring out what's going to happen with him. I think he's going to reduce his role. Figure out who's going to succeed Darren Sproles. Who's going to be the punt return guy.
How much better do you think Mike Wallace is going to be than Torrey Smith?
I think it's a good upgrade. I mean,
what's that mean? A good upgrade?
A little better than Torrey.
A little better?
A little better.
So, on a scale of 1 to 10, Torrey Smith was a what last year?
He was about a 6.
And Mike Wallace is going to be what?
About a 7 or an 8. 7.5, 8.
Mike Wallace is getting old, though.
He can still run.
He can still run. Can still stretch the field. I mean, Torrey Smith did his job last year. He stretched the field. He drew the penalties when he needed to. Mike Wallace, I believe he'll do the same.
Everyone says it's a big. I see it as a wash. I mean,
he's a little better. I mean,
maybe a little better.
Better skill set.
He has better hands. That's definitely for sure.
Yeah.
The Giants open up against Cleveland, by the way, on Thursday night. I think if you're
they made
a
puzzling trade. It was either today or yesterday. They traded Corey Coleman to the Bills.
Oh yeah.
For a 7th-round pick.
The Browns, yeah.
And it's funny because they picked Corey Coleman with the trade that they got
from the Carson Wentz trade
when they moved down.
Yeah.
So the Eagles could pick Wentz. So they already traded. The Eagles have a Super Bowl, and the Browns, a receiver that they picked, is already on, and they only got a 7th-round pick for him.
Jeez.
Yeah, well, that's why they're the Browns.
I thought I get he's underachieved, but he's been hurt. But when he was on the field last year, he was a little dynamic. He gave you something to be, okay, we'll see what he can do if he's not injured next year.
From that move, I think it kind of sets up the potential of Dez signing.
They're going to sign Dez.
It's obviously,
they're obviously going to sign Dez.
Yeah, they're going to sign Dez. I mean, that's what you're going to get.
Good for them. They're going for it.
They're
going to go for
sign
it.
With Cleveland?
Isn't the writing kind of on the wall?
It's kind of what
they've been the only team linked to them, and they just traded a
wide
what
receiver.
I thought was a building block for their
rebuild. Don't they need to hustle and get him into camp? I mean,
We just talked about it. It's all right.
I mean,
He'll play in the second and the third preseason game.
all right. I
Des
think-
Bryant doesn't run routes.
That's-
He just barks his mouth, runs wherever he wants, and catches the ball half
big,
the time.
And he's big and strong, and he overpowers most of the corners. That's kind of how he plays.
What's going on with Josh Gordon there? I mean, he's in therapy. He's not in therapy. The Browns,
yeah.
Josh Gordon kind of thinks it's an acceptable absence, and the Browns are not really thinking it's too acceptable of an
I don't even
Still
know.
the Browns.
It's still
same
the Browns.
old new season, same old
Rob,
Browns.
how
I'm just ready for
How
hard
much
knocks
do you think
tomorrow.
we're going to see of Baker Mayfield Thursday?
Wednesday.
Probably a lot.
Think he's going to play like a whole half? Or just the
Wow, I
first
would
quarter?
play him a whole half. I would play Tyrod. I mean, what is the starting quarterback usually? I mean, Tyrod Taylor.
It's gonna be
He's the
He's the starter for right now. It all depends on how Tyrod does in his series, and then they'll
He
have
should
Baker.
start.
And then they'll have
Tyrod
Baker,
Taylor should start till at least November 1st.
Okay.
unless the Browns are definitely crap the bed in the first half of the season. Then
I'll tell you what I'd like
I
to
don't
see.
think they're going to be 0-16.
they're not going to be bad.
They'll be
they'll
bad.
they'll be better.
6-10.
They'll
Well, I mean, the Ravens, they're kind of just a meh.
they're meh.
The
Bengals
Oakland, you
stink.
don't.
The
Oakland,
Bengals
you
are
don't
meh.
know. The Bengals stink.
Well, I don't care about it. They're not there. I'm
Oakland's
just talking
not in
about the
that
division.
In that division. I mean, the Steelers are going to win the division.
Oh, they
Bengals are
always
going to be
do.
bottom
but the Bengals-
bottom of the league.
The Bengals and the Ravens are mediocre teams at best.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think the Bengals stink.
Yeah, I would
I
not
think
be
the Bengals
surprised
are easily
if
going to be in the top 5 of the
yeah,
draft. Next
obviously
year.
they'll be a top 5 for the draft. Marvin Lewis goes bye. Andy Dalton.
Well, we've been saying that
We've
for
been
how
saying that
long?
for a
I
long
know,
time.
but I think this is it with
Yeah.
Lewis, unless if something
I mean, they'll listen.
weird happens. I
They
don't know.
will. The Browns will win. Will win 4 or 5, maybe 6
Oh yeah,
games next
I
year.
see.
can
I see the
them winning
Browns
some
as 5 and
games.
11.
Yeah.
Can they finish second in the
No.
North or no?
No.
Not yet.
You still think it's Steelers Ravens?
It's
Yeah.
Steelers Ravens.
Browns
and
third
not
though.
by a
Browns
lot.
will be better than the Bengals, I think. No.
Yeah.
Gordon makes the according to Bob Brinkman, the questionable Gordon even makes the Coleman trade more puzzling. But it is the Browns.
It's true.
You're
They're going
right.
to sign Dez. I mean, it's pretty.
Bengals get rid of Dalton and draft Ryan Finley, my quarterback number 1 for 2019.
I don't know who Ryan.
I
Do
don't
you know who
he
that is, Frank?
I know who it is, but I see some other top 5 quarterbacks.
Who's he play for?
Ryan Finley? Oh my goodness!
You're the college football.
I
expert.
know.
You don't even know who he is.
I
you don't even know
I
who he is.
haven't been on college football mode yet. We've been like talking Phillies, we've been talking Sixers, we're talking Eagles. Ryan Finley.
I have no clue.
Oh, NC State. No.
I mean, okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
There's other quarterbacks people
I
are
have no
talking about.
idea.
You have Justin Herbert from Oregon. You have Drew Lock, which many people are saying is
Yeah,
going to
he's
be
the,
he's the guy and a Heisman Trophy
well, he's
favorite.
going to throw for they're like Texas Tech. Remember, like
Yeah.
they just chuck it. He's going to throw for 5,000 yards,
Yeah.
but they're going to win 4 games in the SEC West. Right? Are they in the SEC West or the East?
They are in the East.
Okay, so maybe
Yeah.
they can win a
You have
couple.
Justin Herbert, Jared Stidham. Everybody is high on from Auburn.
games. Will Greer
Will
from West
Greer,
Virginia.
The
People are
comeback
high
kid. Yeah.
on.
Nothing really stands out to me in this class, really, other than Herbert, Locke, Greer.
They say Shea Patterson's going to
Yeah.
be really good on Michigan, but I don't know how good of a pro guy he's going to be.
Yeah, Clayton Thorson from Northwestern, second-round guy. Jacob Eason. I don't even know.
I'm glad reading off those names. I'm glad the Eagles have Carson Wentz.
Yeah, we got Carson Wentz.
Here's a question for you guys.
And
Okay.
Carson Wentz's successor is
The-
listed in his top quarterback.
Regarding the Jets.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Okay. Who do you think ends up being the starting quarterback to start the season? Between
To start the
Bridgewater-
season's Teddy Bridgewater.
Bridgewater? You don't think?
I'd like to see him get a shot.
I want him to get a chance.
I think the Jets want him to be the starter. Absolutely. I think from what I'm hearing, they want.
But you don't
they
pick, you
want
don't
him to-
trade up to pick Sam Darnold. I mean,
No, they want him to be. They want him to be the starter. They want him to be successful, so they can trade him and get a pick. That's basically what they're. That's basically. I
mean
think
that's
what their
fine.
plan
That's
is.
fair.
and then they'll.
But I
put
mean, it's
Darnold
going to
in.
be Darnold. I mean,
Darnold is going to be the quarterback.
Darnold's going to be the guy.
the Browns didn't trade up to get Mayfield. They did make a trade for Tyrod Taylor.
Yes. The
The
Jets
Jets traded up for Sam Darnold, so he's going to be.
I mean, you could make the argument that maybe Darnold should have been the first-round pick, the first pick in the draft. I
Maybe.
mean, he could. You
Could have
could
been.
make that
Time will
argument.
time will tell on that
The
one.
fact that he went down to 3, they're real happy about that. According to
Awesome.
Deems, Bridgewater starts, McGowan goes into coaching. They have a quarterback coach spot waiting for him. At some point, I agree with you about that. You're not wrong about that. But that's an interesting that their
The Jets
quarterback
played
thing.
hard last year.
Yeah, I mean they have a little bit more talent, but I wouldn't put the only reason I wouldn't put Darnold in there to start is because the Jets' offensive line is horrible right now, and you don't want to get the guy hurt in his rookie year, and I think that's
But
a distinct possibility.
if they go to camp and Darnold beats out Bridgewater, I have no problem with them
Yeah,
starting.
I have no problem.
listen, if that happens,
Bridgewater's done nothing. I've seen Tyrod Taylor start playoff games before.
yeah, I remember
He took the
started
Bills to the playoffs.
Yes,
The Bills
he did.
never go to the playoffs.
Yeah, and the Bills gave Jacksonville a pretty good scare in that game. They
Yeah.
were in it.
They were
The-
the only defense to contain Bortles.
Yeah,
as weird as
exactly.
that is.
Yeah,
to say.
surprisingly.
Yes, they are. And you know what? I mean, basically, the Bills were able to move the ball against Jacksonville in that game. They just couldn't get the big play. They couldn't get the ball in the end zone. I mean,
Yeah.
that's basically what killed them. I mean, they were down there. If they would have kept kicking field goals every time, because they got themselves in trouble because they kept going for it.
They did.
If they would have kept kicking field goals, they probably could have won that game
Oh,
12
yeah.
to 10. Instead, I think they lost 10-3, right?
I believe so. Yeah. And I remember during one of the series, they were like right in their end zone, or not
They-
in their
they
end zone,
were-
in Jacksonville's end
they
zone.
were
They
at the-
decided to go pass plays. I'm like, you have Shady. You should have ran him in.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm sure
They
Shady.
were-
I'm
they
sure
were-
Shady let them
They
know
were
that
inside
too.
the 1-yard line and they got stopped.
Yeah.
Then on the next drive, they got the ball inside the 20 and they
went
for
for
it
it.
again
Yeah.
and they got stopped. And then the next drive they got a field goal. I mean, had they kicked field goals each time, it would have been 10-9 minimum.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then when they get the
absolutely.
ball back on that last series, they only need a field goal instead of
They
a
do.
touchdown, and that changes everything. That changes the way Jacksonville has to defend because Jacksonville can't stay back. They got to stop them and not let them run up the first downs and get into field goal range because they could have won the game.
All right, guys. Brad, we're off next week.
We are off next week,
Oh
folks.
no! Why?
August 13th. Well, I'm busy. I got an
Oh.
overnight gig. That I
Ooh.
got to.
Rob is on
Gotcha.
vacation next week.
10-2.
I'm on vacation next week. I'm not even.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
even
not a-
working next week.
Yeah, I have an overnight gig. Brad, I'm sure you'll be on the beach. Frank, you can do
probably.
whatever it is you do when you're not.
I mean,
Here.
I just sit in my house and do nothing.
Well, you know what disappoints me
Sounds
about Frank?
awesome.
I know.
He's not wearing his sunglasses anymore. At night.
No, you got to bring back the sunglasses.
They're right over here. I forgot to
they're
put
here.
them on.
Yeah,
All right, that'll do it for the Sports Hounds.
Gotta get those
We'll see
sunglasses.
you Monday, August 20th. Off next week, back the 20th. Thanks for listening. See you on the 20th.